Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining. This is day 26 of Oracle integration training. And in this session, we will talk about callback integrations. What is the prerequisite for that? And yes, we'll go for BIP report creation in Oracle Fusion, and then we'll see that how we can invoke that BIP report in Oracle integrations, and like what's the way we can use for our integration development and all. So before going to a start, just have a look on that previous session. So in our previous session, we talk about creating the integration where we implemented the FDI implementation, and using that we loaded AP purchase order in Oracle Fusion. So this is the integration which we created the last time, that FOS SC import PO ABC. So when we are executing this integration is picking the data file from file server and loading the data file into that Oracle Fusion by implementing the FVDI zip file and all. So all these things we done in this integrations only. Just for brief, I'm going to show you that why we required callback integrations and like how it's going to be work and what we can utilize using the callback integration. So before going to run this integration, let me have a look on this file server. So if you remember, yesterday this is our source directory where we place this four source data file. In this four source data file, that's the header, purchase order header, lines, distribution, and the locations. This all file containing the purchase order data. We are receiving this data file into Oracle integrations. After reading this data, we created a VDI CSV file for all these four files, then created properties file and merge all this properties file and CSV file to in a single zip. And with the help of ERP Cloud Adapter, we loaded into Oracle Fusion. And the same when we are running this integration, so whatever it's loaded for purchase order import using FVDI, we are able to see the same in Oracle Fusion. So let me have you navigations to that scheduler. So tools, and here we have schedule process. I will show you that when integrations got executed, so it's just simply reading the file from file server just by listing all these four file placed over the file server. Then one by one it's downloading and creating new file based on that FDI template CSV file. Then after it's creating the properties file and loading this properties file into in the zip file, and then zip file, just for brief purpose we are loading the zip file into file server so that later we can go and we can have a reference on that. And then after we loaded the same zip file to Oracle ERP using Oracle ERP Cloud Adapter. So that's we have done. So if you will see, our integration got completed, and in the last you will be able to see invoke bulk upload ERP. This is the endpoint name we given. That's the Oracle ERP Cloud Adapters. Here we pass that zip file as a payload. You can see this is the file reference for the zip file, and you can see this is the file name. This zip file we loaded into Oracle, and once we load it, it's written as the process ID. That's the load interface import request ID. That's the, you can see the ended with 327. And if I can show you here, the same we will be able to find. You can see 327. So this is the same request ID we receive in our main integrations where we implemented a VDI concept. And after that, you can see in our integration we don't have any flexibilities to check the status of this process or this load, that this load completed successfully and what is the status of that input program executed and all these things we are not able to see in our integration, right? Because it was quite a straightforward integration. If you will see here what we implemented in the integration, we just implemented that the invoking the ERP cloud adapter by passing all these files. So here this is the process where we generated all four CSV file, and after that we created the properties file. We created zip file here, zip file, and all the properties file zip file we merged into a file, and we put the file at the file server just for reference. And then we loaded the file zip file into Oracle ERP using Oracle ERP cloud bulk operations. And here we don't have any options to get the status of this load because we are just getting this process ID, and based on this process ID it's a bit difficult, right, to identify the status of this load, and after that it invoke or import process or not, right? It's not too much easy to hear. That's why Oracle integration provides us flexibilities or the new solution that's called callback integrations, that whenever this import program will be completed, that load interface file and import program will be completed, callback integration will automatically trigger in Oracle integrations, and that trigger will happen by the business event of that Oracle Fusion. So the in Oracle Fusion, we just have to register our OIC instance details to this Oracle Fusion SOA composer. So whenever this import a specific import program will be completed, this ESS job program and everything are same. So once this will be completed, it will automatically trigger our trigger integration that's known as callback integrations, so that whatever implementation we want to do after that we can do. So in callback integrations, whatever number of import program executed here, the load interface file and sub programs and all these things, the log file of all the import programs, and the all the ess job plus status of ess job at success, error, and all these things we will get in that callback integrations. Here you can see, once load interface file for import completed or success, it's invoke import orders. That's the main import program which is responsible for loading purchase order data into our Oracle base table. Then after we are able to see that purchase order from front end, right? And then we have that the all this status, process ID, request ID, we will be able to get in the callback integration. So that callback integrations we have to create. But again, before going to create callback integration, that's the trigger integration, there are prerequisites. The prerequisite is we have to register our OIC instance with this Oracle Fusion, so that whenever any of the business event will occur, business event, it means that it can be import program or it can be anything which we want occur in Oracle Fusion, it will automatically invoke our integration or it will automatically run our integration. But how this Oracle Fusion will get to know that which OIC instance and which integrations we have to execute? That's why we have concept of CSF key registration. So that's we will first discuss on that. Then we will go and create callback integration. So let's have a look on this PPT. So first we will talk about the creating the callback integrations and what are prerequisites for that. We will get to know all these things. Then after we will go for creating the BIP report in Oracle Fusion. Then just before moving to creating the integrations for invoking BIP report, we will go for invoking the BIP report using SOAP web services, and that's why we will use SOAP UI tool to invoke or to execute SOAP web services, by which we can invoke our BIP report and gain the data, BIP report data. So that's what we are going to learn. So let's start and first discuss about the prerequisite for set up the callback integrations and what all details required. So the first and most important is the Oracle Fusion users. The Oracle Fusion user, whatever we are using, right? So here, this is our Oracle Fusion applications. And in this application, we want to hit, right? We want to load FVDI, right? And that FVDI will be loaded using Oracle integrations. For that, we have connections that we have created Oracle ERP connections, right? Can see somewhere, yeah, Oracle ERP connection. In the Oracle ERP connection, if you will see, we used user. That user, that Case Brown, that user should have the access of the following roles. The roles is integration specialist, the attachment user, and the privileges. That privileges can be assigned to any specific roles and all. That FND manage catalog service privileges. So all these basics roles and responsibility required to that specific Oracle Fusion user, so that that user can be can be able to invoke or note the FDI to this Oracle, and using that user only, it can trigger the our callback integrations. So that's the first prerequisite which we required, and we have to take care while creating the callback integration and making sure that it works smoothly. And then we have to just register the CSF key in Oracle Fusion. So CSF key is something that the Fusion Oracle integrations details, that we are going to let this Oracle Fusion applications know that this is our Oracle integration instance. So whenever any business event will occur in your applications, please trigger or please execute my integrations automatically. So that's the process called as CSF key registration. And obviously we will get to know what is CSF key. So CSF key is something, a combination of two elements or two details of Oracle integration instance. The one is identity domain plus service instance, from where you will get all these things we are going to learn in this video. So the simple, I told you that the way of registering the CSF key, the first we have to get the CSF key, and then after we have to register the CSF key in Oracle Fusion SOA Composer, this Oracle Fusion instance. So how we can first, let's see that how we can generate our CSF key, and then how we can register, both we are going to learn. So if you will go here, you can see this is our Oracle integrations instance. Either it can be generation 2 or generation 3. Details will be same for everyone. So once you will log into Oracle integrations, just you have to click on the icon for your username, and then you have to go for about sections. Once you will move to the about sections, you will get details related to your Oracle Fusion Oracle integration instance. In the instance, you will get these two details: the identity domain. This is our identity domain of our integration, and the second is service instance. This you can see OIC3, payload ground, playground, and something something. So these two details, when we will combine, that will be considered as a CSF key. Here you can see, when I picked here identity domain first, IDCS2311, this one, The bold one is, you can see, this is our identity domain. And then after we have the service instance, that OIC3 and all. This is our service instance. Both we have to merge or make it combine, and both will combination of these two will be considered as a CSF key. So the first step is completed, that we have to get or generate CSF key. Next step is to register the CSF key in Oracle Fusion applications. So how we can register this CSF key in Fusion applications? So it can be quite easy, that you should have that Oracle Fusion access. Your user should have that Oracle Fusion access, and the Oracle Fusion URL only. You just have to append that SOA composer /SOA/composer. So once you will log into this page, you will be able to see this SOA composer open, right? Oracle Fusion SOA composer. And here you just have to click on this manage security. And once you will click on this manage security, you can see the user you are able to see here, Calvin Roth, the same user which we use in our integration connection. So once you will log into the SOA composer, you just have to click on this manage security. And in the manage security only, you have to provide the CSF key details, the credentials. So you can see the first we provided the same CSF key which we generated, and then we have to provide the OIC user ID and password. So you can say this is our OIC user, that Fox Oracle App Solutions, and we given the password, and again we have to click on confirm password, same password. Once you will click on register, it will register your CSF key in the SOA composer, that's Oracle Fusion application, and you will see one pop-up, that's the confirmation pop-up. And by the way, you will get to know that your CSF key registration is completed successfully. And whenever any business event will occur in your Fusion applications, it will automatically invoke your trigger integrations created. That trigger integration is called callback integration. So here you can see we created one integrations, that app-driven integrations, where we selected ERP Cloud Adapter. This is ERP Cloud Adapter connection as a trigger point. And in this one, we just have to select the import job for which we are going to create callback integrations. For example, in this example, we created integrations for importing purchase order. So for importing the purchase order, our ESS job is imports orders. So the same here, you can see we selected ESS job details, that the import job is import orders. And the operation we select, receive callback message upon completion of FVDI bulk import job submitted via another integrations. Another integrations here, it means that the another applications, that Oracle Fusion. So when we submitted FVDI using our integrations, it's loaded into Oracle, and once that integration will be completed, it will execute load interface file for import, and after that it will execute import job, that imports order, just as we added the properties file in our zip file. And once that ESS job will be completed, within few seconds it will invoke our trigger integrations, that is considered as a callback integration. So this we are going to learn in our session. And you can see when this callback integration will be executed, if you will move to that activity stream, you will be able to see the message. The trigger by, you can see the trigger by, not any specific OIC user and all. The trigger by, you can see the domain details, that integration domain details. So that says then this integration is triggered by the ERP cloud applications. So that all details which I shown in this PPTs, we are going to implement in Oracle integrations and the Fusion. So let's move to that instance and see how we are going to do. So first we have to get this CSF key. So for getting the CSF key, we already log into Oracle integration page. Here we just have to click on this username, and here we have to go for about. So once you will move to about page, you will see that the IP address of your instance and all the remaining details, right? Service instance and all. So what we required two details, that identity domain and the service instance. So if you will see here, we have added the same, this point, right? You can see the combination of this identity domain and the service instance. So let me have a copy of this. So this is our identity domain. Let me copy, put it in notepad somewhere. So let me put it here. I already created one of them. Let's see. So here we have identity domain. So this is our identity domain, and then we have to pick the service instance. So this is our service instance. Let me copy this. We don't need to do any space, hyphen, anything. Just we have to paste it here so that it can be merged. So this is our service instance, and this is our identity domain. So these two combination combined will consider as a CSF key. That this CSF key we have to add in Oracle Fusion SOA Composer. So let's move to the Fusion instance. So this is our Fusion instance, which already we log in with the user, the Calvin Roth, and that whatever user you want to use. The same, you can see this is our URL host. You can see this one. This is our Fusion URL. Here we just have to add SOA slash composer, and this we have to execute, or this we have to log in. So here we added, just click hit enter. So as we already log into the Fusion application, it will just directly open to SOA composer. Based on that server details and all, it can take a bit time to load the page. So just we will wait for a while until this completed. Now you can see we open this SOA composer, Oracle Fusion SOA composer. Here once you will log in, you just have to click on this manage security. Once you will click on this manage security, you will get this manage credentials. Here you have to provide all the details related to your OIC instance, the combination of service instance and the domain, and then the OIC user of Oracle integration and the password for the same. So let's move to the notepad. Here this is the CSF key which we generated. So just copy the CSF key here, and after that we have to give the username and password. So where is the username? So this is our OIC OIC instance. So this is our OIC instance user. So this is the same OIC instance which login. Here you can see this is the same OIC instance which we are using here, right? So this is our OIC user. So I'm going to put this user here, and then we have to provide the password, and the same password I will give for confirmation. By providing all the details, you just have to click on register and it's done. Our CSF key registration has been completed successfully. And now next step is to create callback integration. So creating callback integration is nothing but creating a app driven integrations which can start or initiate with the trigger connection as a ERP cloud connections. So you can see this is our integration. This is our where we create. Where is our integration? So let me have a look. Here we created our integrations. Let me check where is this integration. This one, right? FOS import PO ABC. This is the integration which we created as a integration for implementation in FBDI. And here you can see the connection which we use ERP connection as, you can see FOAS ERP ABC connections. This is the same connection we have to utilize while creating the app driven integration that will be considered as a callback integration. Right? This is the same integration we executed. So now for creating this integration, what we have to do, we just have to go and we have to create a new integration. So just for creating callback integration, we just have to click on this create, and here we have to select integration pattern as app driven. Our app driven, that is also known as application in generation 3. App driven term is in generation 2. So here we will select applications and give the name. So let me give the name as FOAS, that's Fox Oracle App Solutions. And while working on your projects and all, you can use your project code underscore callback underscore PO 90. And let me make as import PO int for integration. So this is the integration callback integration name I just want to give to my integration. So that's done. Just click on create so that the new integration page will be created. So as this is app driven integration, and we know that in app driven integration we are not going to get any of the endpoint added by default, right? So we have to add the endpoint that can trigger our integrations. And we know that in callback integrations we have to add trigger point as a ERP cloud adapter connections, and the connection which we already created, if you will see, this is the connection which we created, FOAS ERP ABC con, right? So you can use the connection by selecting here from here, or you can just click on this trigger, and here you can select your connection which you created. So this is the same connection which we created, we used for ERP cloud. You can see that Oracle ERP cloud connections. So just click here. So just here we will add this connection in our integration canvas page. Let me add from here only, it's not coming. And once you will select, we just have to give the name to this endpoint. At this endpoint is going to trigger our integration, and this is callback integration, so I will give the name as trigger callback callback, and just click on continue. So once you will move further, you will get three operations. The three operations is related to the business event occur in Oracle Fusion applications. So let's remove this SOA composer part from here. That's our registration is done. So whatever whenever business event will occur in this fusion applications, our integrations will occur by using these operations. So as in this case, we want to execute or invoke this integration in case of FDI implementations. That's why we have second operations that receive a callback message upon completion of FDI bulk import job and submitted via another integration. So the FDI load created by other integrations, it will invoke the callback integration, this one which we created right now. So once you will select these operations here, it will ask you to select the ESS job, that import ESS job for which you want to create these callback integrations. That the main integration we created for app driven is for schedule integration, which was for import purchase order, and the ESS job name was import PO. I'm going to show you here the same ESS job we have to select here. In this case, you can see once we selected, if you will go below the brief, they are saying that please provide your preferences for downloading logs and all. So in the below you can see, you can invoke this integration and you can see that all the on only failure part or the success part, or obviously never want to download any of the log details and all, but I will select always, so that whatever ESS job details will be there, either it's success, error, or whatever is there, we will get the log messages and all. And after here in the below you have to select the import job. So I will show you which import job we have to select. So as we created integrations for import purchase order, so same I will use here. So let me show you that integration. So our integration name was FOAS underscore FC. This one, right? Who edited this integration? Who is Mahesh? I think Mahesh is working on our integration. So this is the integration which we created. If I will open this integration, you can see here in the ERP cloud adapter, this one, right? So we selected operation. I'm just going to show you the same import job operations which we selected here in the import bulk data. Go next here. ERP cloud adapter is taking sometimes time. So here you can see it's time taking to load. So as due to it's having bulk operations and the bulk, like lots of operation details here, that's why this configuration page is taking time to load. So don't worry about that. In every integration, it's taking time. This endpoint, that Oracle ERP cloud. So once this will be loaded, I will be able to show you that the import job we selected, that is import orders. That import orders is the ESS job details, the import job details for importing the purchase order. So the same we have to use in our integration. So let me search here that import. Here you can see import order is the ESS job, that which we have to select for import orders. Callback integrations. When you selected, that's go back, go below somewhere. Yeah, here you can see we have the basic details related to that. The job got loaded in Oracle ERP, and the ERP user have the sufficient role and all. So everything we are already done. Just go continue, so that the configuration can be configured. You can see the import job we selected as import orders and finish. And here it's not only just we will create a callback integration and that it will automatically trigger, right? In main integration where we loaded bulk data using that ERP cloud adapter, where there are another options to enable the callback. So where they have to we have to also enable the callback from this main integration. So this is our main integration. If you will go below which import job we selected, you can see the import job we selected as a purchase orders. Somewhere in the selection list I can show you that it's already selected. Here you can see import order is selected. Based on this import order, you can see we have the import job details, that UCM account where the zip file will be loaded, and what is the job name packages of this import job, the imports PO job. This is the package definitions and all. And here you can see once you will go continue next, here you will get one checkbox to enable for this integration as a callback. Here you can see I already enable in my in yesterday's. You can see callback checkbox. So if you will not enable this callback checkbox, your callback integration will not be triggered. Even it's completed loaded the ESS job in Oracle Fusion, but it will not trigger your integrations. To make fully available your integration and automatically trigger by that Oracle Fusion applications, when you are hitting this ERP cloud adapter, here you have to make a checkbox, so that this integration, the main integration, will tell to this Fusion applications that whenever you will complete your imports job, ESS jobs, please invoke my callback integrations. By making this checkbox, it's communicating this message to Oracle Fusion applications. So here we mark this checkbox to callback checkbox and just continue and save. So same import job, that imports order we selected in our callback integration. So this was one of the setup I missed to tell you. So this is also one of the setups required, that we have to enable the callback from the main integrations only. So this is our main integration, that FOSSC import PO for importing the purchase order. In the mapper only, we added the zip file, which zip file we created, the zip file we mapped here to load into Oracle Fusion. So let me save this integration. Go back. So let me activate this integration. This is our main integrations for loading the purchase order using FVDI implementation. Right. So now come back to the callback integration itself. So here you can see in this endpoint we will get the ESS job details. So whatever ESS job will be executed in the schedule process, all the ESS job details and whatever zip file we loaded in our main integration, everything we will get here in a response, in the response. And also here, once this will be executed, also here we will get the details related to that, and we will get one zip file. In callback integration, we are getting one zip file. That zip file contain all the log file, all the properties file, all the CSV file which we loaded into Oracle Fusion applications using our main integration. That's the this integration we are considering as a main integration. So first we are getting the reference here, and this reference we have to utilize while writing the file. So using this response, we have the file reference, the zip file reference. The zip file reference we have to utilize. We have to utilize while writing into this integration only. So as of now, I don't want to do anything. Just I want to add a log message, and then after I will implement that logic so that whatever zip file we receive, we will put the zip file into the file server. That how we can do. I'm going to show you here. So let me add only the logger message so that I can show you that this callback integration is working perfectly fine. So here, let me provide you the my log messages. So and get callback integration triggered, and status is, and here you can see this on event. This is the main trigger here we added, and if you will expand this one, you will get the status of all the jobs and details, right? Here you can see the summary status, summary of this load interface file for import and import job, and the status. Here you can see the document ID ICS job. In the ICS job, we have the file reference for the zip file I told you, and here you will get to know the zip file name and all the details. Here you can see, here you have the file name, that is the zip file name and other details, right? So this time let it be the same only. So what I am going to do here, just I am going to merge the status here. So for that, I just have to go for concat again, callback integration triggered. So this is the status I'm just going to map here. I will show you all this in the log messages, and then later we will just implement other logics to process the file at file server or send over the email and all, right? So let me save this integration. As this is the integration, right, here we are getting one error, and we know that the reason behind that error. So why we know that? We know that the concept of integration, that each and every integration should have at least one business identifier. That's the mandatory business identifier. So as this callback integration we created, we added trigger, but we didn't add any business identifier. So if you will click here, we have to add the business identifier. So you can see, you in the business identifier you can add anything. So let me add the status here only. So once you will do the thing, just click outside so that your integration will have one business identifier as a status, and you can see error got removed. Just save this integration. Once you will save, it will be configured fully, and this will be able to activate now. Now here you can see, let me save, activate this integration. I will select the mode as debug so that I can show the log messages and everything. Just done. So now our callback integration is ready and it's activated to execute. This is our main integration, that FOSSC import PO. This is main integration. This integration, when we will execute this integration will pick the file from file server, here all this file from file server, and it will load into create the zip file and load into Oracle ERP applications, and then it will, once the ERP job completed successfully, it will automatically run this callback integration, right? So let me execute this integration. So I'm going to click on run. Before run, just for brief purpose, you can see FDI zip file. This is the folder where we are writing the zip file. So in the zip file we have few of the file. So let me delete all this file so that once it will write the file, you will be able to see. So let me delete this file. Is going to be empty now. Now FDI zip file folder is empty, and here we have one callback files. So I'm going to delete this callback. Earlier, just for testing purpose, I added the logic. I will show you that how we can utilize add this logic too. So right now we don't have any file here. So now that this file will be picked by OIC, OIC will generate a new file and merge the file as a FDI file, and the FDI file will be placed here, and the same file will be loaded to Oracle. So now I'm just going to run this integration. So here we run this integration. This integration will take a bit of time to execute depending on our logics and all what we added. So in our integration we have not added too much logic. We just added logic to do the operations for getting the file, generating the file, and loading the file into Oracle. So as here you can see we have four files. So loop will iterate four times, and on inside the loop we added conditions to identify the file is which file is related to distribution, which is related to headers and all. So you can have a look of our previous session videos where you will get to know all these things. So here you can see the write file FTP got executed, and here we are writing the zip file. If you will see in the log, you can see this is the location where we are writing our zip file. So if I will copy the file location and I will move to this location, this is the location. If I will refresh, you will be able to find the zip file. You can see this is the zip file created by integration, and what is inside the zip file, which all I already told you, right? So if I can drag this inside, what is the name of the zip file? Ending with 0257, and here you can see the name of file 0257.zip. I navigate to here, and if I can show you this one in my local system, here you can see 0527, right? This one 0257. If I will open, you can see these are for the four CSV file in format of FDI template, and this is the properties file. This properties file required in our integrations to run the import job, right? So now this got loaded into Oracle ERP, and if you will see after loading this, what is the import job ID? Let me refresh this activity stream, and you can see invoke bulk load, and this is the same. Here we pass the same file which we created. You can see 0257.zip. This is the zip file we loaded to Oracle ERP, and in response we got the process ID. And what is the process ID? Process ID is 428. If you will go here, if you refresh, you can see the road interface file for import, that is 428. This is the same import ID which we receive here, 428. And now after this ESS job, it's executed the import process, that's import order, this 435. All these details I will show you in the callback integration. So let me have a look of the callback integration. So just refresh here. PO was their name, right? I search with PO. You can say this is the callback integration which we created just now. Activate, and if you will see the log message or activity stream of this integration, just click here. You can see the track instances. You can see this integration got executed and a status is success. This is the business identifier we added in our integration, right? And you can see FOS callback integration. This is our integration name. Status as success. When it's executed, it executed just now. So it automatically executed. If you remember, we created callback integration and we have not executed our callback integration, right? This is the callback integration. This callback integration executed automatically when this import job completed successfully, right? Import orders. And what we got in this in the integration as a trigger, if you click on this I button to see the activity stream here, you can see triggered by this OIC details. So this is the same details which we configure in this SOA composer, and it triggered by the our main integration, right? Here you can see, if you have a look on this details, right? And what we receive, if you will click here, you will see what we receive as a trigger. And before that, let me show you the logger we added. The logger we added here, logger one. And what is the message we added? Message added with callback integration triggered, status is success. This is the message we added in the logger. And what message we receive as a trigger from Oracle Fusion ERP applications when this job is completed. So message, if you want to see here, just click on this eye icon and you will see this payload, right? So let me copy this payload from here, go to this notepad, put it here and just move it as a XML. And here you can see this is the message ID release 2 and all basic ERP details, the Fusion details we have here. And here you can see, sorry, details, and you can see the reference parameter. These are the basic metadata of the integrations. And after that, if you will have a look below, you can see address reference parameters, that the reference parameters, as I told you, right, when we are executing this trigger, when this trigger integration executed, we are getting zip file. And where we are getting the zip file, if we will go below, you can see the file reference, where I can show you the file reference. Going to show you this file reference somewhere. And this is the ESS job details, you can see here. So let's just start with scratch. So here in this body, the ERP import bulk data event, we have the jobs, right? The status summary as success. This is the same status we able to see here. We added in the business identifier. And then we have the document ID. And if you will see inside that, we have lots of job. You can see the job. So we have two majorly job, one job and another job node, right? You can see, and the third job node. So first one, if you will see here, if I can minimize this, all this here, this is the first job, this is the second job, and this is the third job. The first job is related to, you can see, the load interface file for import ESS job. This load interface for file import is job set which contain multiple single job. So you can see what is the request ID or the process ID for this load interface file for import is 7569428. The 428 I can show you here. Same load interface file for import, and the ID is this one 428. This is the same, you can see. I copy from here 428, and this is the job. What is the status? Success. This is the same status we received here as succeeded. You can see, if I can show you by expanding this one, in this job set we have lots of jobs. So lots of job, which means that we have four load file to interface ESS job. This all four is related to loading the CSV file into interface table. And what is the job process ID and the status? The job process ID is 434, 431, 432, 433. Right here you can see, and status is succeeded. Same you will be able to see the child here. You can see, if I will expand the child, you can see load file to interface. What is the details? 433. You can see load file to interface, that is 433. Another one, if you will go here, I can expand here. Load file to interface, and the process ID is 432. Here you can see 432. Next is 431. You can see 431 load interface file to import. Another one is 434, which is again the load file to interface. Here you can see 434 load file to interface. And the last one is transfer file, which is responsible for processing the CSV file to a specific location from where that control file can pick and load into the interface table. And here you can see the transfer file status, process ID is 430. And if I can expand here, the last one, you can see the transfer file, the ESS job name, and the request ID is 9430 9430. So the first thing we get to know that whatever ESS job set in integration, the main integration got executed, the same status of the same and the log message of the same we will receive in this callback integration as a trigger. After that, if you will see, after the job, here we have another one is import orders. What is the job ID? That 435. Here you can see import orders, and the detail is 435. Same we received a status as succeeded. After that, it executed upload interface error and job output file to UCM Universal Content Management. Status is 436 succeeded. Same you can see here, upload interface file here, the succeeded and the request ID. Right, so all these details we got to know here, right? And also I told you that we are going to get the reference as a zip file. the zip file will contain the log of the each and every job. So if you will see there, import orders, this import the orders ESS job having the job, the log file. If you will click here in this one, you will be able to see the log file. You can see. So let me click here. If I can show you any of the log message, you can see it's 438 430. Here you can see the log file. All this log file we will get in the zip file of this callback integrations. And how we can access the zip file? We can access the zip file in integrations only. So let me open this integration again, callback integration, and I will show you here. So let me open in another tab, that's in 3 integration. So if I go to the design integration, and here you can see this is the callback integration we created. Let me edit this callback integration, deactivate, and here we just have to edit. And if you will see, when I was adding the logger here, this is the endpoint, right? The trigger endpoint, the trigger callback, this one on event. If you will expand here, we are able to see the ICS file. Inside the ICS file, we are getting the file reference and the zip file name, right? The file name and all the other details. Whatever we loaded, we are able to see. Let me find the zip file name is here or not. Control F dot zip. Here you can see, even in the load interface file for import, whatever zip file we loaded, we are going to get the zip file name. But this zip file is different, and the file reference here we are getting, this is different. So this is the one which we loaded into load interface file, and this is the one which we receive in the callback integration. So if you want to load the zip file over the notifications anywhere, you will get to know. So let me add a notification here. I can show you this zip file. So let me add the notification in this integration, so that we can get the zip file. And the same in our integrations implementation requirement, most of the time, like we just need to place the zip file to any specific file server or send over the email, so that later they can have a look on this, that we can do, right? So let me change the endpoint name, that send uh, zip file notification. This is the endpoint name. So each and every endpoint, whenever we are adding any endpoint to this integration, we have to provide a specific name. That's why I given here. So for this email notification case, we have to provide the two email. So let me provide the two email as two. I want to provide get only my email as, and another email is pop dot oracle apps dot at gmail.com. And now after that, I have to put CC. I don't want to put any CC here. BCC nothing. From. So from, we have general as no reply at oracle.com, and then the subject. So subject, let put as a callback integration. Status, and status we want to concat. So for concatenating, we just have to use concat function here. Provide the message, comma, status we can get from here, this endpoint, right? So this status. And now after the subject, here we have body. In the body we can add our messages. So I have already created a template for the email notification. I can utilize the template, but let it be the same. So let me put simple message at hi team, please find attached zip file received in callback integration for purchase order load into Oracle. Okay, and here in attachment we know that in OIC notification, in attachment we just have to provide the file reference, and we know that we already got the file reference in integration trigger endpoint. So if we expand that ERP import bulk data event, here we have ICS file. This we are not able to see in this logger, in the logger we receive here, we are not able to see, but yes, we have that file, right? So file reference, just drag this file reference here. That's done. Click outside. So when we added the notifications, right, and added the file reference, there is one catch here. I will show you once this integration got executed. The catch is here we are not able to see the zip file name, right? The zip file name we receive as a trigger endpoint. That's why we required to write a zip file here on itself. But I will show you in further integration when I will edit it later. So just update this one, activate, and done. So let me run this import integration again. So this is already I opened here the same integration, our FOS SC import PO. So let me run this integration again from here only. So I just executed here. Let's wait for the import job completed. So let me search here. It will automatically invoke that load interface file for import. The recent one is 436. After that, it will get a new one. So here integration is in our process only. So yeah, it's invoked that bulk upload. If I can see here, we will be able to see the new load interface file. You can see load interface file for import got executed. It's in running status. Once this will be completed, it will automatically invoke the import job, the import orders job. So how it's invoking the import job order job? Just because we added the properties file in our main integrations, that zip file. So due to that properties file, it's executing the import job. So that's the reason we are using properties file in our FDI implementation. Here you can see it's automatically invoke the import orders. That's our main job, that main ESS job for this importing the purchase order into Oracle Fusion. Even I can show you that purchase order created in using this integrations flow too. So let me open this instance in the another tab. Once this will be completed, we will get the purchase order number in this log of this file. You can see this got completed. Now this ESS job will be completed. After that, after in few seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, it will automatically trigger our callback integration. So this is our callback integration, that FOS callback import PO. So I can refresh here. As of now, we have only one integration instance here. In some time, it will automatically trigger this integration, and we will be able to see the activity stream here. So just waiting for that. Let's see this got completed or not. This is also got completed. In few seconds only, it will execute our integration, the callback integration. So I'm just refreshing the instance so that I can see that when it got triggered. You can see just now it's got trigger in progress only. So let's refresh here until this got completed. You can see this got succeeded, and once this got succeeded, it sent an email notifications. So let me open this email too. Here you can see, if I can show you the log message here, you can see the log we added, it is the same log. So before log we added the notification name as send zip file underscore notification, and this sending the notification, and what message it's sending, you can see the message it's sending here, this one, right? Send to notification. If I can expand here, you can see this is the same message we added, that the subject as callback integration status succeeded. Let me show you the email. This is the email, right? If I can open here, you can see this is the subject we given from the integration, that callback integration status succeeded. Hi team, please find attached zip file. Now you can see this is the zip file, but if you will see the name, zip file name is not in the correct way, right? You can see something different, right? This is not the correct thing, right? So what, how you can see, if I can show you that, right? So if I can rename this file just by adding .zip in last, we will be able to see the zip file. Open here, you can see the zip file opened, and here these all are the log file details, right? These are the four file we loaded. This is the properties file. These four file generated by the callback integration, and these are the log of the all ESS job executed. You can see here the ID is 9456, and if you will see here, This is the import job details is import job is 462, right? So if you will search with 462 any of the file 462, you can see this 462. If you can open here, you can see this is the job it's executed. And what purchase order created? Purchase order created is this one. If I can show you this purchase order in Oracle Fusion, so let me have a go, navigate to procurement and this order. Yeah, so just have to navigate to the task, and we have to go for manage orders. Manage orders for the purchase order, and I can show you by searching the purchase order here. I will not select the user because this is a different user who created the purchase order. And if I can show you that, you can see purchase order 047 got created and is in open status. This is the same purchase order we created using that our integration, right? Even you can see, if you can see this import orders, I can show you the log file here. This user doesn't have access to see the log, but these are the details it got executed, right? And for that, for each and every ESS job, we have the text file and all. The text file we got in the response of the zip file, right? Now let's solve the issues related to that file we downloaded, but this file doesn't have the .zip convention. So how we can solve this one? For solving that issues, right? So Oracle having the flexibilities, Oracle integration having the flexibilities that we can create file in OIC. So how we can create the file? So let me edit this callback integration, reactivate, right? So open this one. Here you can see we got the zip file reference in this endpoint, right? That the reference doesn't have the file name, right? That's why when we move this zip file to notification, the notifications doesn't have the name that .zip. So what we have to do using this file reference, we have to create zip file here. And while creating, we know that we can pass the file name, and that zip file we will send to the notifications. How you can create? For creating the file, we have the stage file action provided by Oracle integrations. That stage file, write file operations we can utilize to create the file in this OIC, right? So just click here, add the stage file action, or just go to this action part here, select the action as a stage here, drag this stage here, and we have to create the file, right? So we will select write. So I will give the endpoint name as write file underscore stage. Write file is the operation we are going to use. Stage is the action name. Continue. That you can use any of the name, right? I generally prefer this way only. And here we have to select the operation as write file, as we are going to write the file. And what is the zip file name you want to give? The zip file name I want to give is concat. I want to give that import po underscore callback underscore. I want to concrete the integration instance ID so that it can be a unique file name every time. So for concatenating here, we just have to use single quotes instance ID, and then we have to give the file name extension as .zip, right? So this is the file name we given where we want to create. We simply want to create in this OIC virtual directory. It can be anything, that slash OIC, anything you can provide here, right? Just click on continue. So once you will click on continue, it will ask you the file structure. We know that we are going to get the zip file here, and zip file doesn't have any schema, right? This inside the ICS file, this file doesn't have any schema. So how we can provide the schema as CSV and all? That's why we have concept of XSD schema, right? This one, XSD schema, and Oracle integration having flexibility to use opaque schema. That opaque schema is a XSD schema which help us to write a file by converting the base 64 code into the actual file, right? That actual file we can use using that schema. So from where you will get XSD schema or the opaque schema, just go and do Google search that opaque schema, OPAQU, opaque in OIC. And here you can see that Oracle doc page. Just click here, and here Oracle provided the schema. That opaque schema is nothing but it's a code, right? A set of code which is responsible for converting the base 64 code into actual file, right? So this is actual schema, that actual code of that opaque schema. So you can just copy this code, and they're saying that just save this code without XSD schema, right? XSD file extension. So let me move to this notepad here. I will just click new file, and I will save this file as XSD schema. So this is our integration. In this session only, I will use OPAQUE, opaque SCHEMA file dot XSD, right? Extension XSD. Here you can see in Oracle the schema extension is .xsd. The same schema I used. Select type as all so that it will you create with the same name only, save. So you can see this is our XSD schema for the opaque schema. You can see the name is opaque element. This opaque element will take a code or the request as a base64 code, and it will convert that base64 code into actual file reference. And here we can see in our integration we have already file reference, but this file reference doesn't have the file name and all, right? So that's why we required opaque schema. So here we selected XSD here, XML XSD schema, go continue, and here it will ask you to select the schema. So just I will select the schema which I created. So I created a schema as this one here, this one, right? Opaque file, yeah, opaque schema file dot xsd. Just click on OK. You can see the opaque element. This is the same opaque element we are able to see here, this one, right? So this will ask you a base64 code. I will show you from where you will get the base64 code. Continue and finish. We added the stage file. Now this stage file required a schema, right? This stage file required data, right? Based on data it will generate a file here, and we file name location we already given, right? So what file we have to give? So if you will click on this mapping, in mapping you can see opaque schema. So this opaque schema, we have to map the base64 code, but we don't have base64 code, right? The same concept we are using in the BIP report, but in BIP report we are already getting base64 code. I will tell you in our upcoming sessions in the few after few minutes only. But here you can see we have the file reference, right? You can see the file reference. But Oracle provide predefined functions, that pre-built function which will convert this file reference into base64 code. So how it will convert? So we have one function's name as decode. You can see here encode reference to base64 code. So this is our file reference. With the help of this function, this file reference will be converted into base64 code, and we know that this opaque schema always asks for base64 code. So here what I will do, I will just drag this file reference here. So using this function, by the help of this function, this file reference will be converted into the base64 code, and the base64 code will be mapped to this opaque element. And with the help of the stage file endpoint, this base64 code will be converted into actual file reference, and that file having the file names and all, right? So here we got one error. Let me solve this error first. So maybe it's in that file name convention only. Just go continue. Here you can see somewhere we have the name invalid expression, right? So edit this one, and here this I will remove this one, right? You can see I missed this single quotes here in the last. Just continue, 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 and finish. Now this error will be resolved. No, again we have error. Let me go again edit. Let me use again concat. This is the message, file name, comma, this is the OIC instance ID at runtime, comma, dot zip, single quote dot zip. So this is the code. Let me remove the previous one. Now click here. So this got completed, that import po underscore callback underscore instance ID dot zip. So that's done. Go continue, 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 finish. You can see error got removed. Now our integration is ready. So what it will do, whatever zip file it will receive, that zip file will be converted into actual file with the file name using stage file operations, and then that zip file we have to send to email. So in the email notification we just have to change the file reference. So this file reference is directly coming from the endpoint. So instead of that, what we have to do, we just have to remove this zip file from here, and here you can see write file stage. This is the endpoint where we created the zip file, and again inside this zip file we have the zip file reference. You can see file reference. So I will drag this file reference here. Now we updated the file reference in the email, right? That's done. Even same file, even same file we can write over the file server. So this is the file server. You can see this is the file server, and here we created one folder that callback files. If you will see, we can write file here also. So for this file server, we already created connection in our previous session. If you see, the port is 84.8.65. I will show you one of the connection which I already created. Let me add one more integration page so that I don't want to change this page. So if you will go to the design connection, the FTP connection, this one, right? Somewhere, where is the FTP connection? This one. FOS FTP ABC con. This connection I created yesterday only. If you will see here, you can see the host is 84.8.65.101. This is the same, right? This connection ID user is OIC underscore port. This yesterday I already created yesterday, so I will use this connection to write file over the file server. So just go to main integration. Here we have to, after sending the email, we just have to write the same zip file to file server also. So let's add the connection. So where is the connection? This is the connection, right? FOS FTP ABC con. I will select this connection here. In the connection we have to provide the endpoint name. So as this connection will help us to write file at file servers, I will give the name as write zip file underscore. FTP is our FTP connection, and this is the action operations which we are going to perform. Go continue. Here we have to select the write as we are going to write the file, and what will be the file name and the directory. That what is the directory where we have to write the file. So directory, we know that this is the directory where we have to write file. So let me copy this directory here. Sorry. And what will be the file name we have to write? So file name, we know that we have already file name here, so I will not provide here. So just because this column is mandatory here, so let me provide anything here, star something, and I will replace this one in the mapping only. Just go continue. Here you can see it asking that schema of the file which we want to write. So as we know that we have already the file created here, and that file doesn't have the schema, it's zip file, right? I don't want to send the schema right here. That's why I will select no, so that I can provide the file reference directly here. Just click on continue and finish. Our FTP endpoint is configured here to send the file to file server. Just in the mapping here, we have to provide the zip file reference that we want to send and the zip file name. So here you can see outbound FTP header. If you will expand here, you can see file name and the directory. This directory we already given in the configuration page. This is the same directory, but file name we have not given. We just given random value as a star something, right? So this is the zip file name we have to provide while writing the file to this location. So the file name we can also get from the write response, the write file underscore stage here only, that zip file we created. So go inside the ICS, we have the file reference, and in the file reference properties, we have the file name. So this file name we will map here. Directory we already map in the configuration. So if you can provide the directory here, so this will be replaced by the previously we given, that will override because the priority is high in the mapper only. So whatever star we given in the file name while in the configuration page, that will be replaced by this file name we given in the mapping. Now go to the ICS file, and here you will get the file reference. So this endpoint will ask you the file reference, that file which we want to send over the email or send over the FTP location. So this is the same file reference we have to send. So I will map this file reference here. So write file underscore stage will create zip file. This is the zip file reference which we created, and this is the zip file name we given, right? So just validate and done. And go back. Save. So our integration is ready. So what this callback integration will do, it will just start trigger by the Fusion applications. After that, it will create zip file in OIC virtual directory. The zip file will be sent over the notification, and the same zip file will be right over the file server. That's the integration, callback integration implemented way here, right? Just go back, activate this integration. So let me activate this integration. It will take a bit time to activate. So based on the integration logics and all. So as we don't have much things added in there, so it will activate soon. So now this got activated. This is our main integration. Let's execute. For that we already added a trigger page here. You can see this in the task. This is our main integration. So let me execute integration again right here. So just click on run. So once we will click on run, it will just read the file from file server. Again, do the same process. Create the zip file and load the zip file into Oracle Fusion applications. Then after some time, it will execute the import program, and then once import program will be completed, it will run the callback integration, right? So let's wait for running the load interface file for import. This time I selected hierarchy option here just because to see all the ESS job executed by me, and so that I can see in the parent and child relation here, right? That's why I generally prefer that hierarchy one. You can see the load interface file for import got executed with the process ID entered with 490. Same you can see in these integrations. If I can refresh here, you can see bulk upload. If I can go here, you can see this the result somewhere, this one, right? Ended with 490. This is the same, right? 490. You can see the service is 490. Now just wait for completion of this all import jobs and all. That imports order got executed, it's already succeeded. Then after it will just execute this one. This will be completed, and after few seconds it will trigger our callback integration. Where is our callback? This is our callback integration, right? So right now we execute this callback integration executed two times that previously we executed. Let's refresh this one. So now it should be three here, right? Three times. So the last one is executed 33 minutes ago, last one is 19 minutes ago, and now another will be executed now once this ESS job will be completed. All three got succeeded. After that it will execute our callback integration in few seconds, right? So just I'm refreshing here so that I can see the callback integration executed by our Oracle Fusion application. Again refreshing here. Yeah, here you can see it's got executed just now. And let's refresh again so that it will complete the process. And you can see the instance ID, the same instance ID we use in the file naming convention. So I will show you the same instance ID added in the zip file name, right? So let's complete this one. This got succeeded. Let's move to that email first. Go back, and here you can see new email received just now, 8 at 9. Just open this one, and you can see the zip file name, right? Import PO underscore callback, the same message. The item, please find that as received this one. And here you can see in the zip file, if I can download the zip file here, you can see the name of the zip file, right? Import PO underscore callback PS hyphen RL8. This is the instance ID of callback integration. You can see PS hyphen RL8XYE something something, right? And if I can extract the zip file here, right? And in the zip file, you can see we have lots of all this log file and all, right? The log messages and all. And all these log messages are the same which got executed from front end, from here only, right? This one, right? All the same log messages. And here if we will move to that file server, let me reconnect here. This is the same locations where we added integrations in logic and integrations to write zip file received from the callback integrations. You can see that zip file got written here, that callback file inside the folder. You can see import PO callback PSRLS, same zip file. If I can export the zip file here in this location, here you can see the import PO callback integration. If I can move to this location here, somewhere, yeah, this one, right? You can see import PO, this one. This is the same file, right? We have this one. So this is the quite straightforward simple integration which we created. Using this integration we are able to see that how we can work on the callback integration, how we can add logics and all. If you have any other queries and you want to ask, please make a note of that. In last of the session, we will work on that too. We can discuss all these questions and all. Now move to our next part, that where we have to create BIP report, and then we will learn that how that BIP report can be invoked, what kind of web services we have to use and all these things, right? So let's move to the Oracle Fusion's application where we will create our BIP report, right? So let's move to the Fusion application. Let me first close all these things, right? This is our Oracle Fusion application. Sorry, this is our Fusion application. And in the Fusion application, we have to navigate to the analytics to create the BIP report, right? For moving the BIP report, what we can do, for creating the BIP report, we have to go for analytics. And analytics you can find from two way. The first and common way is just go to the tools, and in the tools you will be able to see the analytics, reports and analytics. You just have to click here. It will navigate you to the analytics page, and here you just have to click on catalog, right? Browse catalog. Once you will click on the browse catalog, it will open you the analytics, right? And here you can just write the your BIP report, data models, query and all. So here in while creating the BIP report, we have two things. The one common things is that the data model, and another one is that the reports. So data model is something that where we are writing our codes, and report is something that we are using that specific code to display the result in different format, whatever format you want to display, right? So these are the catalogs, analytics, navigations. This is my folder. This my folder is somewhere that's only visible for that specific user, by which user you log into this system. And this share folder is something that whatever user is available in this instance, that user can access this share folder. Obviously they should have the BIP role access to access this analytics and all, right? So here we will create our first BIP report. So for creating the BIP report, obvious just have brief on that. So BIP report, why we are using BIP report? For example, we created purchase order here, right? I will show you that. Let's me have a look on this. Here we created purchase order, right? Let me show any of the purchase order. So we created one purchase order here also, right? So any of the text file, right? So this is the purchase order we created. Let me search this purchase order, right? So if I can show you here, manage orders. So this all purchase order details we are able to see from front end, right? The same thing we can use using queries. Queries, it means that somewhere in the database this details got stored, right? The purchase order details is stored in this Oracle Fusion database table, right? So using that table we can extract these all the details, right? And the details we can utilize in BIP report to display in the different format, in PDF, Excel, and in just like in the bill format and all, right? That we can utilize, and that's why we are using BIP report. And obvious for each and every transaction you are able to see from front end, Fusion front end having a specific tables, right? For case of purchase order, Oracle provided the table. So how you can see the table? For checking the tables and all, you just have to navigate to Oracle Docs, docs.oracle.com. And in the oracle.com you just have to navigate to a specific modules for which you want to get the data. So here you can see we have Fusion applications. In the Fusion application suite, here we just have to go for supply chain, finance, procurement and all. So we know that the purchase order comes under procurement modules. So here you just have to go for procurement. You can see once you will navigate to this procurement, that Oracle having the flexibility, they given that documents related to Fusion tables, schema, everything, right? So here you can see we navigate to the procurement, and this 20D is that the versions and all, the quarters D and all. So here we just have to navigate to this APIs and schema. APIs is something that SOAP and REST web services. Schema is something that we have tables and all. So here you can see in the under the schema we have tables and views for the common procurement and all. So instead of going to that, I will go for a schema, and here you can see we are able to see the tables, right? So tables view for procurement. So just click here. It will show you list of tables available for this module, the procurement modules. You can see the tables and all. Purchasing, if you will see, go to the purchasing table, you can see PO history, PO action history, PO agents and all. Somewhere we have one of the table related to purchase order. Here you can see PO headers all. This PO headers all is the table which store the purchase order details. And how you will get to know? As I explained you, right, in the starting also someone told me to that from where we will get this purchase order details using this table. So the same way, once you will explore, you will learn, and you will see, you will get to know that where you are storing that values. You can see the brief about this table, PO headers all. The PO header tables all contain header information for your purchasing document. Purchase order is also known as purchasing document, right? Here you can see this is our purchase order, and this is our purchase order header. All these terms and attachment, these are our purchase order headers. This is purchase order header additional information. This is purchase order lines. This is purchase order schedule, and this is purchase order distribution. Right. As you know, if you remember in our CSV file that we created for purchase order, we had four CSV file. One is for header, another is for line, distribution, location. All these are three are there, and header is this information. And this information generally we will receive from this table itself, that PO header table. But sometimes it's not quite straightforward that you will get the details directly. It can be possible that you are able to see here procurement business unit name. This is the name, but behind this name in this table it will store purchase business unit ID. That kind of things you will get to know, right? So let's take this table only just for brief purpose so that we can learn the BIP report. I'm not going to tell you that how BIP you are going to create BIP reports, logics and all. We our main purpose is to invoke the BIP report in Oracle integration, right? So let's create a simple integration, a simple BIP report. So this is our analytics, and how you can navigate to this analytics. I told you the way. You just have to go to tools, and in the tools we have reports and analytics. And in report and analytics, you just have to for browse catalog. There is another way, right? This is our Fusion instance. The another way is quite straightforward. In the Fusion instance, as we are adding the SOA composer in URL only, just you have to type the analytics, analytics analytics. Once you will tap this analytics in the URL, it will directly navigate to navigate you to this analytics page, this page on itself, instead of navigating to tools and all. Here you can say it's loading, so it will directly navigate to you to the same page. Here we are here. It's loading. I will show you here. Based on network speed and internet and all. That's the server details. It will take a bit time to load. So now you can see it's loading the same page, the analytics page, which we are here. But here it's showing the dashboards and all. If you just click on home, you will be able to see this the analytics, which are able to see here catalogs and all the details. You can see here the home dashboard, same home dashboard you can access here. And now for creating the BIP report, you just have to go for create, and here we have options, right? Data model. Here you can see we are not able to see the data models here. It means that the user which login, that user doesn't have role access to create the data models, right? To create reports. That's why we are not able to see the data models. So let me change the user here. So I will just go and sign out. I will log into another user. This user doesn't have access to create the data models or the create reports, right? So this also got removed. So instead of Calvin Roth, we know that this Calvin Roth user doesn't have access to that. Let me navigate to another user. I have list of users. So let me go for this one. Password is same for all the users. That's why I am not worrying about all this thing. Let's see this user having that access of that data models or not. So remember, data model is something that where you are writing the SQL queries. Go to create, and here you can see this data model. This data model we were not able to see in the previous user, the Calvin Roth, right? This user doesn't have access to create data model, but the user, second user we use, this user having the access to create data models. That's why we are able to see. Fusion is all about roles and responsibilities, right? The user having roles and responsibility, they will be able to see. Right now, what we have to do for writing the SQL queries to extract the purchase order details, we have to navigate to this data model. We have to create the data model, and where we have to write the SQL queries. So just click on this data model. Table, we already got to know this PO header solve, which will store the purchase order details, that the order document. Also, you can see you need one row for each documents you created. There are 6 types of document that uses PO header solve. That RFQ, requests for quotations, quotation, extended purchase order, that's we created here. the standard purchase order. This one, let's me go for this order. Here you can see this user which we navigate, this user doesn't have access to see the purchase order. Alright, so I will go for another way. So here I will use with another user so that I can show you the purchase order details and all. The Calvity wrote is that supply chain user. Let me close this one. Here you can see this is the page where you can write SQL queries. This is the data model page. And in the data model page, the first one is data set. Data is set is something that where you are writing the SQL queries. For writing the SQL query, you just have to click on this plus icon, and here you have to select the source of data, right? So our source of data is SQL queries, right? Using SQL queries, we want to extract the data. That's why I will select SQL queries. It can be possible that you get that HTTP data from there and all, right? So generally we will go for SQL queries only for writing the queries. So click on SQL queries and it will show you that new pop-up message. Here you have to give the dataset name. So dataset name, for example, I am going to give that PO data. And here you have to select the source from where you want to get the data by writing the queries. So generally we are using applications db underscore fsscm, right? So this one, it can be the different data source here, that which this all are few are created manually, but we'll go for that applications db underscore fscm. It can be hcm, crm and all. So these all are the source of data, right? So I just selected here, and here obvious types of SQL. I am going to write SQL queries only, not the PL SQL and all, right? So here we will select. So this generally these two will be same for each and every VIP report. Based on different situation, it can be changed. Now here this is the place where we have to write the SQL queries, right? And you can say this is not too much interactive. It's like bore only. So generally we as a developer, what we are going to do, we are writing SQL queries somewhere in other tools, just like notepad plus plus or SQL developer, and then we are just pasting the code here, right? For example, this is our table. So if you will see, let me go to notepad here. I will write the code, right? Select the star from this table. Let me I just want to check how many columns are there in the table and what are the value this is column store, right? So this is our page. Here we are writing the query. So I just write the query here. Let me select language as SQL, and here we paste it. So just click on OK. You can see whatever columns are there for this table, we are able to see all these columns here, right? But we are not able to see the data, right? For checking the data, you just have to click on this data tab. Once you will click on data tab, you can see the page comes here, right? You just have to click on view to see the data. So once you will click on view to see the data, it will display you the data in XML node format. You can see G1 is first data set, G2 is second data set, and all the columns that you are able to see here, right? These all are the data available in the table. You can see. So now here you can see if you will click on table view, the data will be displayed in the tabular form. You can see the PO headers ID, checklist ID and all, right? So if you will scroll down, you will see all the details, right? Somewhere here we have segment 1. I will show you. Here you can see while creating the purchase order, we use requisition BU, procurement BU, and these two are the requisition BU ID, procurement BU ID. Document status is that the purchase order status. Here remaining details, right? Types of purchase order, that's standard and all, right? And here you can see the who column. The who column is last updated date, last updated by, creation date, created by and all, right? To see our latest data, we can use order by creation date, right? This is the column. So I will utilize this column and we will show you order by creation date descending, so that latest creation data will be able to see the first. So go to data diagram again. This is the data set, right? Here you can see that we created PO underscore data set. The G1 it's able to see. Just edit here. Just go replace the query here, right? Okay. Go to data and click on view. It will show you the data in preview, the tree format. Just click on tabular way, and here you will be able to see the data, right? And again you can see here we are able to see only 5 row, 2 to 4 1 5, just because here we have the check. So the maximum row we can see in the data set is 200, right? Here you can see if I will select 10, click on view, only 10 row will be displayed here. Even it's this having lots of record, right? But it will show only 10 records, so that you can write your queries in efficient way. It will not take much time to load and all, right? So by default features given here. So I will not be worried about the number of rows and all here as of now. If you will scroll down, let me see the purchase order number somewhere, right? So the status is open and all, standard. Somewhere we have, you can see the comments we added. This PO is created using FDI, and this comment, if you will see from where we got these comments, if you will see the purchase order, this is procurement, the purchase order we created. Where is the purchase order number? This is the purchase order number, right? We created. So navigate here, just search the purchase order. Go to manage orders, manage orders, and remove this one buyer, right? Search. You can see this is the purchase order created, and you can see what is the value here. Sorry, the value is comments, right? So let's see the comments of this purchase order, right? I can show you that one. The description, comments, yeah, in the notes and attachment. No comments. Where is this comments attachment? If you will see here, the description, what is the value this PU is created by? Here you can see the description, right? So the PO description we are able to see here. Few more things if you will see, go here, request ID, that the user ID who requested this purchase order. Here we have segment name, segment one. Here you can see in the table, right? PO header alls table, we have the column, and if you will go below, you will be able to see the lots of column there, right? You can see somewhere. And where is the purchase order number? The purchase order number is available in this segment one, right? Here you can see in the segment one column, and the same you will be able to see the details here. If you will search the segment one column here, you can see the segment one. And what is the details of this segment one? You can see key flex field segment one of the field of flex field ID. The segment will store the purchase order details, the purchase order number, and remaining column that created by and all the columns you will be able to find from here only. The note to supplier here somewhere we see, right? Vendor ID. The vendor ID is used for creating the purchase order. The vendor ID is something the supplier ID. Here we have the lead supplier, but in the backend it is storing the supplier ID in the table, that US1 and all, right? This all purchase order we created using FDI recently, right? You can see that 47, 46, 45 and all. This all purchase order, right? So what we will do, we just have to create the BIP report. So I will not display all these columns. I will display few of the column only. So I will display PO header ID. So let me go to the code. Instead of select a star, I will show this PO header ID column. And let's see, bill to BU ID, sold to legal entity ID. And let's take one or two column just for brief purpose. Document status, requisition BU, procurement BU. Here you can see procurement BU ID, requisition BU ID, and agent is the one who created the purchase order. And here you can see the types lookup code is that the types of purchase order, that is a standard we created. And this segment one is that purchase order number, right? So let me copy this segment one, PO header ID, and here the segment one, and I will give the alias as PO number, comma. Do we have any other columns? Let's see. Segment 3 enable flag and all, let it be. Here you can see currency code of this purchase order. And do we have any other? You can see the comments. Let me add the comments. So now here you can see our BIP report is ready. If I can execute this query, it will display a few of the columns only which we given in the select query. Just click OK. Here you can see we have few columns only. Just go to data and view and just click on table. So here you can see we are able to see few of the records only, right? And as we have not added any filter, right, anywhere conditions in the query, that's why it's displaying all the purchase order available in this table with this column, all the column, right? For example, I don't want to see all these columns, all the purchase order here, right? For example, if I want to see only purchase order which is created by any specific date or the purchase order created by the name only, right? So this is our column PO name, the segment one. So let's add one more condition here where PO segment one, that is purchase order number, is equal to, for example, I want to see this purchase order only 48, right? This one. So if I will search, if I will execute this query, right, again go to diagram, select the data model, edit and delete all this code, write our code with conditions. Okay. Go to data model, view and run. You can see this query is returning only a specific, only details related to a specific purchase order only, right? PO headers, bill to BU and all, right? All the details. So that's using this way you can add the conditions in your query. But you can see there is differences every time. Whenever you will execute, it will display you the same details, right? As we hard coded the purchase order number in the report, instead of this hard coding value, we want to add the parameter to this report parameter, so that while running this report, whatever purchase order number we will pass, it will display the data for that purchase order number only. So how we can add the parameters in query? So just go to diagram here. You can see here we have the parameters, right? So just click on these parameters and here you have to go to click on this plus. By clicking on the plus icon, you can select the parameters. So let me give the name as P underscore PO number. So P underscore PO number, it means this is our parameters name. What is the type of this parameter? It can be a string, integer, boolean, or anything. So let put as a string only. The parameters type, that the text value, text box I want to show, or it will be LOV, that the menu, and the dates, POV, search and all, right? So let it be a text only, that whatever value we will pass, it will execute. You can make that parameters as mandatory too, just by click on this plus tick here, checkbox here. And if you will go to below, this is the details related to your parameters. If you will not provide anything, just go back to your data model. And now whatever parameters we created, what is the parameters we created? We created parameters name as PO underscore num, right? So to make this segment one, right, the value as parameter based, what we have to do, instead of providing the hard coded value here, let me comment this line, hard coded value, we can utilize our parameters. So this is our parameters, just copy these parameters here and paste it here, right? But this is not just the parameters. For considering this column, this value as a parameters, you have to add a column here. So once in your SQL queries, once you will provide the columns and then any name, SQL queries will automatically understand that this is a parameters name. Now if we will execute this in this data model, go to data model, then it will automatically consider this as a parameter. So here you can see the PO num is our parameter. Just click on OK. The parameters we already created here. So now you can see this is reflecting here. Just click on data model. So it's not saying, go back again, click on data model again. Here you can see you are able to see the parameters here. As we have not provided any name to this parameter, the label name, that's why the text we are not able to see. If you will click on view, it will not display the data as we have not provided any value here. So let's provide any purchase order number. For example, this is the purchase order number. If I will pass this purchase order number here as a parameters, click on view, you can see it will display the data related to the purchase order number only, right? Here you can see the header ID is 71. If I can change the purchase order to 47, you can see the details will be changed. You can see the header ID is 70. If I can provide the different purchase order number as 46, it will show you the data related to the 46 purchase order only. That's the way we can add parameters in an BIP port. So let's add the name here, right? So for adding the name, go to the parameters. This is the parameters. Just select here and you can see display label, right? Display label we have to provide. So let's provide the display label as purchase order. So here we given display text label as purchase order. So in parameters, it will display the value as purchase order, right? So go to data set again. Just go back to diagram so that the page can be refreshed. Go to data. structure again, it's not showing here. Here you can see the purchase order got added here, and we provided the value. Just click on view, it will display the data. So that's the way we can create data model for BIP report. Till now we have done half of a part of a BIP report only. We have not completed the BIP report fully, right? So this output, even you can download in XML format. You can see save as sample data, and you can just click on export to download this one. You can see once I click on export, this got downloaded here. If you will see, this is the data we downloaded, right? The same data you can utilize in your BIP report to read the data from BIP report, right? So let's remove this one. Now what we can do here, we have to save this data model, right? We can, if you will not save this data model will be vanish next time when you will log in. So for saving this data model, just click on this save icon. So once you will click on the save icon, it will ask you the locations to save, right? So it's taking time due to say slowness. Yeah. So now it's asking where you want to save. So I want to save in the share folder so that everyone in this Fusion Access can access this one, any user, right? So I will go for share folder. Generally, all the custom BIP reports logic we are writing in the customer folder, custom folder only. So here I'm just going to create one folder name, that FOAS, Fox Oracle App Solutions. And inside this FOAS, I just want to create data model folder. Data model. So inside the data model, I want to save our data model, right? So this is the data model folder. And now here I will give the name to our data model. I will give the name as FOAS underscore PO underscore DM. PO, it is a purchase order. DM means data model, right? This is the naming convention you should always follow. This is your project code. This is the report name. Sorry, this is your report name, and this is your data model, right? Data model, that DM defined for data model. Just save. Click on OK. So data model will be saved, right? You can see save, and here this is our data model name. Now our data model is ready. Now we have to create a report for this data model so that it can be displayed, right? And it can be accessible outside this environment, outside this analytics. For that, you just have to navigate to catalogs, or directly you have to click on create, and you can go for report, right? You can see this is the report. This is the data model which we already created. Now we have to create the report. So you can directly click here on the report, or we have one option that create report. You can click here. So just click on this create report. Now you can see once we click on the create reports, we have two options. For creating the report, we have to provide the structure, that what kind of report it will be, right? How it will display the data. Let me close this one. For example, you are getting that credit card bill, right, in your email every day, like every month on monthly basis, right? In the credit card bill email, you are able to see the PDF attachment. That PDF attachment is nothing but the generated by BI reports only. That's a specific report, right? So somewhere the bank using that applications, in that applications they created reports. That report is getting executing the data model. Data model is getting the your credit card consumptions detail from database and displaying the data in a correct format. It can be PDF, Excel and all. But credit card attachment we are getting as a PDF. So all these things we can display using the layout. So we get to know about the data models. Each and every data model will be attached to a report. And in the report, how it will display the data, that will tell you about the layout of the report. So for each and every report, we have the layout. So here you can see, you can upload your layout. That layout can be RTF layout, Excel layout, or anything, right? I'm not going to discuss this layout part here. I will discuss this separately when we will learn about BIP report creation. So as of now, we will just create or generate generic layout that will default generated by Oracle Fusion only. So the first in this report, right, in the report page, we just have to select the data model, for which data model we want to create the report. For that, you can see we have search icon. In the data model, we have search icon. Just click on this search icon to select the data model, or click this plus icon to create a new data model. I've already created the data models. I will just click on this search icon to select our data model, right? So I click on this search, it will just load. Here you can see it got loaded. As we recently created our data model, that's why it's directly open this page. If not, you can navigate to these locations to see the data model where we created. If you will see in the share folder, we had custom folder. Inside the custom folder, we have one folder created with our name FOAS. So somewhere if you will see this one FOS, this inside the folder we have name as data model. So if you will open this data model, this is the data model we created, that FOS PODM, right? So just select this data model, double click or just select and click on OK. So once we select double click here, you can see our data model created and we are able to see the hyperlink. Hyperlink, it means that this report is linked with this data model. Now we have to add the layout to this report, so that the layout will define that what kind of report output format you want to see. Either it can be CSV, either it can be XML or anything, right? So for generating the layout, as I'm not going to upload, I want to generate. So just click on this generate, right? You can see box. Click on generate. It will ask you the template name. For layout, we have to provide the template name, that in which format it will display. So let me give the template name as FOAS underscore PO underscore DM underscore T for template. Click on generate. So here you can see new data model template already generated, right? And if you want to see the properties and all, just click on this edit. It will automatically download the template for you. You can see .rtf template. If you will open this one, you will be able to see the template, right? Even you want to do the changes, you can do the changes and all, right? This is our template. If you will edit here, you can see this is a template. In the template, how many columns are there? These all are the same columns we added in our SQL queries. Here you can see same columns: PO header ID, PO number, description, PO header ID, PO number, descriptions, bill to be used, sold to legal entity ID, and all the details, right? And behind each and everything we have one tag, column name. You can see behind this is the tag, and inside the tag we have the column name, sold to legal entities and all, right? And this you will be able to see once your laptop or your desktop having that BI publisher installed. So in my PC, BIP publisher is installed. That's why I'm able to see. You can see BI publisher tab here. That is extension of this MS Word, right? Even you can see if you want to add the logos and all, you can add the logo. So when we are automatically generating the data templates and layout, it automatically added the below details. Here you can see Oracle BI publisher and all. If you want, you can add your logo here, and remaining many things you can add here. You can see you can add that here one message as let's see, purchase order details created by integration, right? And let me add one logo here. I can add. So let me add the logo here, or logo image. So here I added the logo. Let me make this logo small. So here you can see this is the logo I added in this report. Now the message is purchase order integration details, bold underscore, and let me change the color of the text is to red, right? Now this details, this internally automatically added. Let me save this one, the layout, and I will upload this layout again here in the report layout. So here you can see for uploading again, go to the view list, and here you can see this is the layout, right? The template we added. You can remove this template and you can add the new template here. So again go to thumbnail, and here we have options to add a new layout, right? So click on this add a new layout. So earlier the first layout we generated manually, right? By click here you can upload the layout. So I will upload the same layout which I just created. So I will go to download. This is the layout which I added. Select the layout here, give the name. I will give the name as FOAS underscore PO underscore DM PO underscore LT1, right? Let me give, select the type as RTF template, local as English. I will select English US somewhere, right? And not UK, US, and upload. You can see the name of layout is LT1. Why it's showing that name? Let me change the name as and upload. It was already uploaded with the same name. That's why it's not allowing us to upload. So now once this will be uploaded, we will be able to see the two layouts here. You can see the LT1 which we recently created, this one. Even we can delete this one or we can let it be the same. So if you will go to the view list, here you can see we added two layout, the T1 first, that this is the first which we added. So by default you can see the default layout is this one tick. So we can make our new layout that we created POLT1 as a default. So let it be here default, both all will be active, let it be the same. And here you can see the output format. This output format will define the format of your layout, right? So the layout can be different format. It can be XML, PDF, RTF, anything. So let me remove all these things. I want to make that first as PDF, and another no Excel, no PPT. Another we can see in CSV and XML. Let me force this one only. And here you can see the default format is PDF, right? So you can make the default format as PDF, CSV, XML, anything, right? Even we can go for CSV, we can go for XML too, right? So if you want to go for CSV, the report data will be displayed in the CSV format only, right? So let's go for PDF by default. So that's the PDF format we have. And now what we have to do, we just have to save. So this report is created right now, name is untitled, it's not saved, right? So we have to save this report we created, right? So just click on this icon to save this report, and we just have to provide the name. So here it will show us the save pop-up here. Now it's asking to save. So we created data model. In this data model folder, just go one step back, and here we will create one folder name as report, and inside this folder we will create our report. So let's give the name as FOAS underscore PO underscore report. So this is our report name. Click on OK. Now we created our reports and our report is done, right? So want to see the report, just click on the view report. So once you will click on the view report, it will display the options to display the reports. So for this report you can see we added two template. That's why you're able to see here this two template here, right? You can see this one is our old template, the here by default oracles and all, and this is our the latest template which we created, right? And here we are not able to see any data. Why we are not able to see data? Just because we have not provided any purchase order number. If you will provide the purchase order number and click on OK apply, you can see that specific purchase order details you are able to see here, right? So this is called BIP report in Oracle Fusion. So that we are able to create the BIP report, right? Whatever purchase order number you will pass, let's pass as 47. Here you can see it will display you the purchase order number with the 47. Here you can see the PO number as 47. If you will provide any incorrect values, that's 666, apply, it will not display data because it will not find any purchase order created with this number, right? So that's the BIP report we created from front end. Now this is the same BIP report we have to invoke using web services, so that we can utilize the same in our integration, right? So even you can see the purchase order format is right now it's in PDF. Even you can download by click here. That same it will be downloaded. So let's give the name here. Just sorry, click here, and this is the PDF. Just save. So this will be downloaded here. Let me give the name as PO report. You can see once will be downloaded. Go to this download folder, and here you can see PO report we downloaded. You can see this is the report it's created. So the same way, if you want to download this report or see the report in different format, just click here, and you can see while creating the report, we given the different report output format, right? Selected format as PDF, as data, and CSV. So if you will select data, it means that it will display the data in XML format. So this is the data. XML format in the report is displaying in this way only. If you want to download this data, you can just go and export. If you will go for CSV, your report data will be displayed in the comma separated format. You can see the report data is in CSV format. If you want to download, just click on this gear icon, go to export, and you can just export in PDF. Your report will be downloaded in PDF. You can see same. If you want to go export report data, it means that XML, your report output will be downloaded in XML. Here you can see .xml. The same way, if you will go and download it in CSV, your report data will be downloaded in CSV format. You can see all this report data downloaded in three format. Click on the first one, that is XML. You can see this is the same format, XML format. If you will go here and see this PDF, report data will be displayed in PDF format. And here if you will see the last one which we downloaded as a CSV, right? So your data report data will be displayed in the CSV format only. You can see the report downloaded in CSV format. This is the report download. And in CSV, whenever you will download the report, the first column will contain the parameters, right? So whatever parameters you added in your BIP report and the parameters name and P underscore PO num. Even you can remove these parameters by doing the setups, the changing the properties details of your data model, but I will not go deeply in that as of now. Now our report is ready. We are able to run the report. Now this report we want to download or run from the web services. That's why Oracle provided SOAP web services to invoke the BIP report or to run the BIP report. The web services you can easily find on the Google. Just have a query on Google. So let me show you that one too. So we'll go for that. SOAP web services for Oracle Fusion BIP report. You can see the call Fusion BI publisher report in here, and you will see that web services. This is a web services for the invoking the BIP report. That services V2 report web services. This web services, the SOAP web services we will utilize while invoking our BIP report. I already have a copy of that in my notepad. Let me have you look here. This one, right? That XMLP server services external report WSS services. So this is the web services, the SOAP web services for calling the BIP report. And again, the SOAP web services is combinations of that your Fusion host and the web services provided by Oracle. So this is the host for that web services. Now, how you will combine these web services? So again, this is the same, and just instead of that, you have to change the Fusion host details. So below you can see this is our Fusion where we created the BIP report, and Fusion host is this one, right? So I will copy this one, just paste it here, and after that we just have to combine this XMLP server here, remove one extra size, and this is our SOAP web services to invoke the BIP report. Once we will invoke this web services, this web services having different operations. If I can show you the operations here, this web services having one of the operations as run report. You can see this run report. This run report operations allow us to invoke our BIP report from web services, right? So how we can invoke these web services? And we know that for invoking the SOAP web services, we have a tool known as SOAP UI. SOAP UI tool will help you to execute your SOAP web services. So let's me open the SOAP web service, SOAP UI. So I have already installed the SOAP UI in my system. So you can see this is SOAP UI applications, that IDE tool where we can execute our SOAP web services. Now here you can see once you will open these applications, let me close this one. You just have to create a project. So as we are going to execute our SOAP web services, we will go for SOAP project. Even REST API also you can perform in SOAP UI, but I will go for SOAP only. So we just have to go for new SOAP project. Click here, and here we have to give the project name. So I will give the project name BIP report, and the WSDL, initial WSDL, you can see WSDL, that's is the SOAP web services. So this is the SOAP WSDL we generated, right, for invoking the BIP report. So you just have to copy this one and just paste it here and click on OK. All the operations available for this web services will be loaded into your application, that's your SOAP UI ID. And here you will be able to see the two method, that the external report WSS. Okay, so latestly we have one only, and inside that we have lots of operations. We have operations. One of the operation is run report. So this run report will help you to execute the BIP report from web services. That BIP report created in Oracle Fusion. This one, right? So what all details we require to run this BIP report from web services? Let me show you that once. Once you will expand, you can see request one. Once you will double click here, the new page will be created. This is called request payload. Let me expand this one, and this is called response payload of the SOAP web services. So these all are the parameters which we have to pass to the SOAP web services to invoke the BIP report. So here you can see we have lots of details, but all the details are not mandatory to pass while invoking the BIP reports. So what all mandatory details required to pass, I will going to show you. Let me copy it from here. because it's showing very slow, very small inside in the side here. Let me move to the notepad. Let me open here. This is XML, so let me change it to XML. Now you can see. So here you can see these all are the parameters required to pass in this web services to invoke BIP report. So what our parameters are about? Let me show you that one. So here you can see this is the body of this SOAP web services. Inside the body we have operations that run report, and inside the operations we have different nodes, right? So you can see the report request, that which request we want to trigger from SOAP web services, and inside that we have the details related to the invocation, related to the BIP report, right? So let's talk about each and all point one by one. You can see that XDO property list. This XDO property list is not just about the BIP reports details. That BIP report we created in the Fusion applications. Where we created BIP report, this is our FOASPO reports, right? Which we are executing. If you will select the PDF, it will display the data in PDF format. Right. So this is the details which this point is talking about. So this is already created in Fusion. We don't want to pass this. This is not mandatory. So what you can do, you can remove this question mark from here so that this endpoint or this node will be null and this will not be passed, as this is the features of XML, that if you will remove the value and the value is null, it will not pass to the web services. So you can do this thing. This is one option. Another option is you can just directly delete this one, right? So this XDO property which is not required, as I know, so I will delete this one. Now here you can see attribute calendar, attribute format, local templates and all. And what all these details are, these details are related to BIP report. How you can check? Just click on the catalog where you created the BIP report, and I'm going to show you all this thing. So here you can see this is the data model which we created. This is the report we created inside the folder of report, right? And if you will click on this edit, you will be able to see the properties and other details of this BIP report. You can see these all are the layout, that the layout we added. And if you will click on the view list, you can see these two layout having the template. This is the template file name, the template name, template file which we loaded. This is the output format. This is the type ITF default format and all. Local, you can see English, US, reorder, active and all. This is the same thing here it's talking about, right? And uh, in Oracle Fusion BIP report, it's not mandatory to pass because by default we already provided the details here, right? So no need to pass it here. So what I will do, the attribute calendar formats and all, what I will do, I will just remove. So the first one, attribute calendar, is not required, I will remove. And you can see the attribute format. This attribute format is something that the report output format, you can see the output format, that output format is same as the attribute format. So if you want to run the report or get the data in XML format, HTML format, data of CSV format, any of the format, you have to pass the value here. So I required this one. It's even not mandatory that if you will not pass attribute format any value, by default whatever is set here that will reflect data in that way. So by default you can see our layout, the default layout we selected the last one, and the output format is PDF. If you will not pass any value here, it will automatically display the BIP report data into PDF format, right? So that's the thing. And here local we don't require, I will remove. Time zone not required, cache not required, delete all this thing. Again we have dynamic data source parameter. Data source parameter is same, that from where we, while creating the data model, we selected the source. So it's also not required, which we already provided in the data model. So I will delete this one only also, the data source. Patterns and all, it's also not required, I will delete this one. Now here we have parameters name value. This parameters name value is something that the parameters which we given in the data model, right? So click on this link to directly move to the data model. And in the data model, we added one parameters. You can see this is the parameter. Just click here. This is the name of the parameters. This is the label of parameters. Never go for label. Label is just for displaying. For accessing, this is the parameter which the same we use in our BIP report here. You can see the parameters. So whatever is value here, we have to use the same value in our SOAP. So here you can see we created parameters name as P capital underscore P capital O, everything in capital, same we have to pass here, right? You cannot change that one. So here we are writing this one. So this attribute in the parameters, inside the parameters we have items. These items define that the parameters. So in BIP report, our report, we have only one parameters, that's why this item we will use only one. If we will have two parameters, we will repeat this items node, right? And inside the item we have UI type, data type, data format. It's not required, right? This label, this is the same label we are able to see in the report in below this one. So even we are not going to be care about all these things. What I will do, I will delete these things here, all this value, right? And here we have name. This name is something that the parameters name. So we know that our parameters name, that po underscore po name is our parameters name, so I will use this one. After that we have properties as reference parameter on change, nothing, I don't want to use any of this value, right? I will delete the value. This is the parameters name, and what is the value for these parameters you will see inside the value node. And inside the value node we have item that defines the value. So what value we are passing? We are passing a purchase order number to this one, right? So for example, this is our purchase order number, so let me copy this purchase order number here, and we will pass as value. This is the comments here. We know that in XML we are writing comment in this way. This comment will not be executed, so you can let it be the same or you can delete. So let me delete this one so that it can be quite easy to look. Now you can see this is our attribute format. I am not going to pass anything. By default it will take whatever is there. We can pass, even we can pass XML, PDF, CSV, whatever we define. So let me pass as PDF here. Now parameters we given. If for example our report having two parameters, so what we just have to do, we just have to copy these items, and here we have to pass this item here, right? So here will be the two parameter. We can change the parameters name here and all. That's quite a straightforward, right? So as our report having only one parameter, so I will remove this one. Now parameters value node is done. After that we have report absolute path. This is the actual path of BIP report, right? So go to the BIP catalog again to see the path of the BIP report, and from where you will get the BIP report path, I will show you that too. There it's loading. So this is our report. If you will click on this more, you will go to the properties. If you will click on the properties, this is the location of your BIP report. Copy this location. You can see somewhere. Let me put it here by this wall. This is the report directory, and here you can see this is the report name. So let me copy this report name. So report directory slash report name, and the extension is .xdo, right? This xdo. So these three combines to make together as a report absolute path. This said is not required, right? So because that, no, that common, right? Remove this one. This is our report absolute path, right? So this is the one way you can easily find the report absolute path. Another way can be just click here, go to the schedule, here in the schedule, and here you can copy the report absolute path directly. So you can see this is the report. Just copy this report from here, this one, right? Copy. And this is the same we generated here, right? So in a single place only you will get the complete report path by moving to the schedule. Return. Let me go back to the same page. You can see this is the report name also there listed. So now we got to know the report absolute path. Let me cut it here and paste it here. Report absolute path, right? So after that, report data, report output path, both are not required. I will remove this one. Report raw data not required. And here we have one more value is size of data chunk download. This is a very important part. The size of data chunk download. In most of the interview, they will ask that what is the value of size of data chunk and why we are passing that value, right? So here you can see when we are running the report, we want to get all the data in single hit only, right? For example, we given the parameters, that parameters having only one row, that's why it's displaying or it's showing only one record, right? For example, this reports, when we are passing this value, it will display lakhs of record, right? And you want to see all lakhs of record in a single page only, in single call only, right? That's why we have to provide size of data chunk as -1, right? So if you don't want to see, because if there will be lakhs of record, right, so obvious the file size will be large, right? And we know that each and every web service are having their own limitations. So for example, right now we will invoke the web services and size of this report will be 5 MB, right? 5 KB or something, right? Suppose it will be 200 KB. But if we have one records only, that's we have 200 KB. If we have 2000 record, it will be more than 200 KB, right? So it can create problem. That's why instead of this negative value, if you will provide any positive value, for example, I provided here 5 600, it means that we are forcing these SOAP web services to get only 600 of byte of data from this report, not all the records. We want to get only 600 bytes. This is the byte, right? This size of data chunk is positive value is considered as a byte. It means that we are asking the web services to return invoke the BIP report with these parameters and return the data of 600 bytes only. Right, that's why we are using here. So instead of that, I just want to get all the data in single hit. That's why we are providing -1. And the report request is done. App parameter not required. So I will delete this one. So this is our request payload for invoking the BIP report. Right, and this is the only things we have to be passed while invoking the BIP report. That's why remaining attributes parameters we deleted. Right. So what details we required while invoking the BIP report? That's also interview questions. You can make a note of that. The first thing is report absolute path reports absolute attribute format of the BIP report. It means that the report output format, what should be there? It should be PDF, XML, CSV, anything. And remember, this is not mandatory. Remaining all these are mandatory, but this is not mandatory. It's optional. If you will provide value here, it will report data will be come in this format only. If you will not provide, so whatever default report format we given here, let me show you that one here. Let me click on this edit. Go to view list. Here you can see the default format is PDF. If you will not provide value here, it will automatically pick by default as PDF. So here you can see we are able to see only these three format. That's why we can only pass here three format, that's CSV, PDF or XML. You cannot pass Excel here because Excel is we are not able to see the Excel here, right? And here we are able to see only three column just because in the output format we selected only these three tick. One checkbox, two checkbox, and three checks. So that's why these three we are able to see here, right? That's the thing. So let me make as PDF only. That the request payload we ready for invoking the SOAP web services. Just copy this one, copy and go to the SOAP web services again. This is the SOAP web services. So let me delete this one which I already copy and paste it here. So now this is our request payload for invoking the BIP report is ready. We have to provide the ID password to this application, right? So that this fusion system can be invoked by the user, right? So just click on auth. Here you can see no auth. Select the no auth, add new authorization. Select the basic, click on OK. And here we have to provide the user ID password for the fusion applications. This dev18, right? The which user we want to access, right? So here we have already noted the user password. So I will select this user and the password for the user I have already copied here. So now I am just going to run this one. So once we will execute, the Fusion application will be invoked using the web services with the user password we shared, and it will return us the data. And data we will be able to see in the response box. So here we have the details of the response. If you will click on XML, you will be able to see the data. So what data we receive, if I will copy and I can show you this data in Notepad, here you can see this is the data we receive. And this data you can see the report byte. This report byte is the output format of a BIP report. This is our report byte is our base 64 code of our report response. Here you can see this is the base 64 code and this base 64 code is our BIP report response. So we know that the response we got in PDF. So this base 64 code we just have to convert. So in the PDF. So let's go for any of the tool if you can check base 64 to PDF online. Convert base 64 to PDF. Let's take any of the tool. Here decode to PDF, click on this decode to PDF and here you can see we are able to see the report response here, right? The parameters we given, the PO number is 048. If you will see the SOAP web services here we have 048. If we can pass as 046 and if I will run these applications, it will return 200 OK status. It means report completed successfully. Click XML. This is report byte, the base 64 code. Just copy this code Here it's too large, that's why it got stuck here. Let me, here you can see, let me copy it from here. Go to notepad, remove this one, paste it, and this is the XML, right? So let me copy this one. Copy, go to the website, online website we have, the portal, and paste it here. Delete, paste it here. Now if click on decode base64 code, here you can see we got the report output, and what is the output format is 046. The PO number is 046. This is the same PO which we passed here, right? 046. So this is the way we can invoke our BIP report using SOAP web services. Here you can see if even I will not pass this PDF for a report output format, right? Even by default it will take as a PDF only, right? Here you can see 200. Okay, got it. Copy this one. We didn't pass, right? Make sure that we didn't pass here. Copy, go here in notepad, paste all this, and then copy this report by it. Copy, go to the website here, delete this one, paste, and run. Here you can see again we got the output in the PDF format. Why? We got report output in PDF format, and what is the size? 74.93 KB, right? And what is the data? The same data. Why we got in PDF? Just because our BIP report for default format is PDF. If I will change the default format to CSV and save, right? And now if I will run this report, it will give us data in CSV as we have not provided anything here, right? Right, go to OK. Again, copy this one. Go to notepad, somewhere in this notepad. Here, let me delete, paste. You can see this is a different base64 code. Here you can see the report content type is text plain, right? It is here because it's given data in CSV format, right? Last time it was in PDF format. Well, if I can show you, right? Let me copy this one. Go to the applications website here. If I can change, copy, paste it here, and decode. Here it's not showing because that this is displaying in the base64 PDF format, and our report format is CSV. So that's why we have another website called base64 code 2. Somewhere we have base64 code. Let me go for another website, that inco base64 code. We have one website that called encode base64 code, right? Here you can see we have decode base64 code. Just pass it, paste it here, and decode. Your data will be converted, right? Here you can see this is our data, and the data is in CSV format. You can see this is in CSV format, comma separated. The first one is that parameters. This is PO header ID, this is bill to BU ID, this is ship to legal entity ID, document ID, and all these details, right? So using this way we can invoke our BIP report. If we will pass any value here, pass any value, for example if I will pass value as XML, it will give us the data in XML format. Let me run this one. The key content report type is CSV. Now you can see the type is in text slash XML. If I can copy this one, go to this one here, paste, and if I can show you this in online converter, copy, go to the website. If I can remove this one, paste it new, and I will decode. You can see this is the XML code, right? Here you can see the XML code of our BIP report, right? You can see the G header one and the bill to BU, ship to legal entity, and remaining details, right? All the details are there. So that's the way we can invoke our BIP report using SOAP web services. Now, same SOAP web services we can execute from our integrations itself. So this is, as we know that this is SOAP web services, and for invoking the SOAP web services in our integration, we have connections, and connection require adapters, and that's why we have SOAP adapters available in our system. So let's move to the integration and create one connections with the SOAP. adapters, right? So this is our page. Let's move to the integration part. And what we will do, we will create our integration. That integration will invoke BIP report. It will get the data, and the data will be loaded in the data will be sent over the email. So that integrations we are going to create right now. So for first creating the integration, we have to invoke the SOAP web services. And to invoke the SOAP web services, we require SOAP connections, right? So let's create SOAP connection first. Go to the design, and here we have to create connections. Go to connections. As we have to create SOAP connection, that's why I will click on create. Here we have to select the, for creating the SOAP connection, we have to select the SOAP adapters. So search as SOAP. You can see this is the SOAP adapters. Select adapters, give the name. So I will give the name as FOAS underscore SOAP underscore ABC underscore con. This is our connection name, and just click on create. Let the connection type as trigger and invoke itself. Click on create. So let me make a note of this connection name here. In our previous sessions, we create a few of the connections that we given name here. This is our SOAP connection, right? So now SOAP connection created. In the configuration page, we have to provide the URL for the SOAP web services. And what is the URL? The SOAP URL which we generated right now, this one, right? This is our SOAP WSDL, SOAP URL which we given in the SOAP UI, right? So the same we have to provide here in the SOAP WSDL. We given the WSDL here. Now while after giving the WSDL, we have to provide the username and password. That the authentication token will be same user and password. The same we used here in the SOAP UI. Here we use user and password. So I will use this same user in the connection. So I will use the user and password. Again, I will use the same password, which I already make a note of this one here. Now password done. Just we have to test the connection. If the configuration process will be changed, it means that our connection is ready to use. Now it's 100%. It means that our configure connection is ready to use. Just click on save so that it will be changed from draft to configured. And when connection is in configure status, it means that it is ready to use in integration. Go back. Now our this is our connection which we will utilize in our integrations to invoke the BIP report, right? So just go to integration. Mhm. And this is our integration page. Here we have to create the integration. So I will create app-driven integration. What I will do I we know that while invoking the BIP report, we have to provide the parameters. So we will create one integration, app-driven integration, where we will pass parameters this value as a request payload, and in the response we will return as result as success or error, and the report output we will send over the email. So that kind of things we are going to create. For that we are going to create the request payload. So here I'm going to create a request payload for the integration as integration request payload, as for example I'm just going to give as parameters and the value which we have to pass, and the response what we want in the response. Integration response, in integration response we just want to know the status, right? Status, add success or error, whatever we want, and the size of report, size of report. So these two we want to get in response, right? Even we can get the report file name to report name, report file name we can also get in response. So all these things we will add logic in report integration itself. So these three details we will expect as a response of the integration. And we know that when we have to create integration in a such way, when we have to pass the parameters as a request payload and receive the response as a return some value as a response, we have to create app driven integration. So let's go to the integration page, click on create to create integrations. And here we will select the pattern as applications and give the name. So I will give the name as FOAS underscore AP underscore PO underscore report INT. So app driven purchase order report integrations. Just click on create. And here you can see when we are creating app driven integration, we are not going to get any endpoint. So here we have to add the endpoint to trigger this integration and configure this request and the response payload. We have to select REST endpoint so that we can configure request and response payload. and many times I created REST connections already. So somewhere I will show you that FOAS. This one you can see. Let me search with this name FOAS underscore REST. Here you can see FOAS REST tree connection, which I already created. This is the simple connection, REST connection I use in multiple various integrations. Now here we have to give the name to this endpoint. So this endpoint is responsible for starting the integration. So I will give the name as a start, and this is REST endpoint to give the name as REST. Now go continue, and here we just have to provide the endpoint URLs, right? Relatives URL, what will be for our integration. So just for, as this is for PO integrations, I will give as your relative URLs PO report int. And I already multiple times explained that what is the reason behind using this, where we will use. So now here we have to provide the operations, right? The what kind of operations this integration is going to have. So we'll select as post. So by using the action endpoint as a post, so that it can configure request and response payload. And for configuring the request payload, here you can see we have the one checkbox that configure a request payload for this integration. To make this tick, and I want to get a response for this integration, so I will select as this tick, so that this integration can be configured in a such way that it can return the response. I don't want to do anything with this header request and response, so just click on continue. So as we selected as a request payload, that's why configure request configuration page got opened here. So here you can see we prepare the simple payload for the request, and this simple payload we know that it's in JSON format. So that's why here we have to select. So by default it's coming JSON only, that's fine. Even you can create JSON file with this payload, or you can directly click on this inline to give the JSON payload. So just paste it here and click on continue. If your format or syntax will be correct, it will go and ask you for moving next forward. You can see the request wrapper added. This request wrapper is something that we will get in our integration. So go continue. Now here we have response payload to configure. So we will do the same. We will copy this response payload here, and here we have to just again click on this inline as JSON is already there. Provide the payload here, click on continue, and now you can see automatically response wrapper is reflected here, and the media type as JSON selected. Just click on continue and done. So our trigger endpoint is added to initiate our integration and take a value as a request payload. Let me save this integration. So now here you can see we know that whenever we are creating any of the integration, by default each and every integration required at least one business identifier. That's mandatory, right? That's why here you can see even by configuring the endpoint, we are getting one error. Once you will click here, you will get to know the error is related to primary business identifier. To add the primary business identifier or business identifier in this integration, you just click here and add identifier. So I will add the identifier as a request payload what we got. So parameters I will add as business identifier, the primary business identifier. Even you can change the name as, so I will change the name purchase order. Purchase order param. Param means parameters. So same thing we will be able to see while debugging the integrations or while checking the integrations in the tracking payload path. That's so now our integrations we added the trigger endpoint to configure the request payload. Using this endpoint we can configure the response payload. These two are done, right? Now it's time to invoke the BIP report, right? For invoking the BIP report, which other values required? We require the parameters value. This one we will get from the integration request payload. We require this absolute path, and we require the data chunk size. So all these things, even we can add a lookup for getting this value, or we can just provide that same value directly in the SOAP web services or all. So generally I am using that one variable concept. So each and every integration I am just adding one variable that's giving the name as default assign, and inside that all the variable which I suppose which we are going to use in our integration I am creating here. So this is the assign endpoint I am going to add here. This assign endpoint is going to create few default variables. So I will give the name as default assign here, and now here we have to create variables. So first I will create variable. I will create one variable, and that variable is going to store the report parameters name, right? So I will give the name as var underscore parameters 1, parameters name 1. right? So this is the name first parameter. So what is the name of the first parameter? This PO, right? So I will copy this name and I will store in here, so that every time I don't want to go and provide the direct mapping, right? I will directly map this variable. Now here I will add another one, and what that one? This will hold this report absolute path, right? So I will give another variable name as var underscore report path. Later, if we want to change, we will remove these hard-coded values and we will provide the lookup mapping here, so that we don't want to change everywhere where we are using this value. Now we have one more values as size of data chunk. So I will create one variable here where size of download data chunk, and obviously we are passing as -1, so I will pass -1 here. So these three value are mandatory, that the minimum which we required for invoking the BIP report. Other than, as I told you, that I want to return this response to that file server, the email also. So I will add the email details, that details we want, that I will create variable that where to email, where email to, this is the variable name which will store the to email, that to whom we have to send. I will send that aaron@gmail.com, add box.oracle.apps.solutions@gmail.com. The two email I want to send an email notifications, and from where we want to send. So all this I am going to create variables, so that if I'm going to add multiple notifications all the time, I don't want to write these things. I will directly map the variable where underscore email from, and generally we are using email from as no reply. You can configure this in OCI, no reply at oracle.com. So now these basic details we already configure. We have one more thing, that the report attribute format, right? The report output format you can add output format, right? So I will give the name as var underscore output format. And what is the output format? So even we can add one thing, we can add the output format in our integration parameters only, right? So let me add one more thing, output format, right? These things we will ask while running the integration, right? So let me update our request payload, right? So as of now, let me put is null only. I will just update the integration payload, and then I will map that value from here direct to this location, right? So go to the trigger point again, go continue. This is the request configuration page. Here click on this inline and change the request payload, right? Direct parameters to change it to parameters with output format. Continue, go complete finish, and save here. So now here you can see I will go to the variable and I will change the mapping for this that variable, right? So the mapping for output format variable, and instead of null I will map from the request wrapper, right? The request payload. So output format I will map here. So whatever output format user will pass, it will retrieve the BIP report in that format only, right? So now our general variable created, which will store the few of the details. Now we have to invoke the BIP report here. For invoking the BIP report, we know that we have to execute the SOAP web services, right? So this we have to execute these services. And for executing the SOAP web services in integration, we have SOAP connection. So I will add the SOAP connection here. So this is the connection which we created right now, FOS SOAP ABC con. I will click here. This SOAP connection having the same WSDL which we provided here, that's why we will get the same operation list of operations there. I will show you that. So this is just for running the reports. I will give them run report underscore SOAP is for SOAP connections, right? Continue, and here you can see external report WSS services. This is the same which we have, that external report WSS services, and here we have to select the operation. So which operation we have to select? We have to select the operation as run report, right? This one. So I will search run report. You can see this is the run report operation. Select here. Once you will select the run report, these all are the object details you are able to get, right? This is the fault for SOAP web services, that access denied exceptions, operations failed exceptions, invalid parameters exception. All these things we can utilize when we will use the error handling part. go continue. And here do you want to get attachments and all? So here you can see while invoking this one we didn't configure any of the details, right? That's why don't require to do anything here, just go continue and finish, right? So we selected the operation as run report to invoke the BIP report, right? And here you can see whatever value we provided here, same value you will get in the mapping. So just double click on the mapper, and in the mapper you will see list of items, list of attributes which we got when we clicked on the request one, right? You can see. So here you can see the connectivity properties, everything fine. I don't want to go because we given all the details in that connection only. If you will go to body, you can see this is the body, right? This is the body of run report. Inside the body we have run report node. So you can see run report node. Inside the run report node we have run report request, right? Report request, if you will expand you will see the report request. And the report request, after that we have, after this report request, right here we had the parameters, we deleted this one apps param, right? So let it be the same. And inside the report request we had lots of things which we deleted, and that out of one, that is one is related to attribute format, right? So here if you will expand report request you will see somewhere you can see xxdo property list, attribute calendar, attribute format, all these things which we already deleted from here, right? Because we don't require, right? So what we required that attribute format. So go to the attribute format, you can see this is the attribute format, and here we are passing xml, csv and all. In integration we provided it, we are getting this as a request payload, right? Here we configure this request payload output format as attribute format. So go to the integration, if you will see the request wrapper, this is the same thing that we configure request payload of our integration. You can see the parameters and the output format. So this output format we will map here as a attribute format. After that attribute format, if you will see the attribute format, we have the parameters name value node. So go to the parameters name value node. You can see the parameters name value, right? So expand this one. Inside that you can see the item, and this item is in array format. Remember I told you that in our report we have only one parameter. That's why we have one items. If we our report had multiple parameters, what we will do? We will just copy this one and we will paste it here. 2, 3, whatever number of parameters we had, we can add it here, right? So as of now we have one parameters only, that's why here we have only one. If you want to make that multiple parameters, just right click here. So first let me show you that. So this is the items. Inside the items we have name, where we have to pass the parameters name. So inside the item if you will see we have UI type, data format, string, all these things we have already deleted from here, right? So what we left only names. Go to the inside the item, go to the name. Here you can see this is the name, and this is the parameters name. We already created one variable which we store this name, right? So where is the variable? The variable is this one, where parameters name one. I will map it here, right? So now parameters name is done. After the name you can see we have value node, and inside the value we had item. So you can see after the name we have value here, and inside the value we have the items. You can see this items is the value for the parameters. You can see this items is the value for the parameters. So why this is as array element? Because your parameter can have list of values, right? Your parameters can have multiple values based on the report. So as of now our report parameters having only one value, so I will map it here. And from where we are getting value? We are getting value as a request payload of this starter integration. So I will map these parameters to this item. So now we are done with this position. Now it's time to map the report absolute path. So go to the parameters name values outside this one. So go below, you can see here we have report absolute path. This report absolute path is something that the BIP report directory, and this which we already store in one of the variable, that's the report path. So I will map this report path here. After that we have report data, report output path, all which we already deleted here. What we required only size of data chunk download, right? So go find size of data chunk download, and where we have to map, we already created one variable with this name, right? Which is store -1. So we mapped it here. Right, done. Just click on validate. All the required attributes, all the required field we already mapped to invoke the BIP report, right? And if you want to see the mapping, right, we mapped here. So whatever we mapped here, if you will click on this arrow icon, so this is the code part of the mapping. Here you can see this is the same thing which we mapped here, right? If you will utilize, or you will find, try to find this same thing, this one, you will just you will compare here, right? Just brief. You can see sort of the things you will get to know, right? Body, report, report path, all these things, right? Attribute format as PDF. Here we are mapping from the value parameters, name value. You can see inside that we have name, items, all these things, right? So let me delete this thing. It's not required. I'm just show you that, so just for brief purpose. In integration, if you have complex logic, you can come here and you can edit this XML code also. Let's go back here. Our mapping is ready to invoke the BIP report. Just go back here, and done. So with the help of this endpoint, our BIP report will be invoked, and this endpoint will return as the response, and that response will be the same as we are getting here, right? And in the response, we will get the base64 code, this base64 code, right? Now what we are going to do, we are copy this code, and in online tool we are converting that base64 code into actual data, right? The same thing in OIC we can do using opaque schema. In OIC, opaque schema is doing the same. If you remember, in times ago, we converted the callback integration zip file reference into the actual file by just converting that file reference to base64 code. So here we required opaque schema. The opaque schema will help us to convert the base64 code into that actual file reference. And we know that whenever we are invoking BIP report using SOAP, in response we are getting base64 code. Now we have to convert this base64 code into actual file reference. That's why we required opaque schema. So how we can utilize that one? So we know that we in OIC we have a stage file concept. That stage file help us to create file in OIC, right? That's why here we will drag a stage file here, and we are going to write the file, right? We are going to get the base64 code from this response, the SOAP response, and using that base64 code we want to write file, we want to create file, right, by converting that base64 code. That's why for writing the file we require a stage file. So a stage file, we have to create the file. For creating the file using a stage file, we require a write file operation. That's why I will give the name to this endpoint, that write report file underscore stage. Stage is the action name. That action name we selected as a stage, and this is the operation which we want to perform. Continue here. And here we have to select the operation. So as we are going to create the file, right? That's why we have to select the operation as write file. Now we selected the right file. Now here we have to provide the file name. What kind of file name you want to create? So I want to create the file name with this po report dot, and here you can see the file name, which when you will create the file name, the file name can be random, right? So if your integration will pass that XML here, right? If while running your integration, if you will pass XML output as XML, your file name should be report your file name dot XML, right? If you will provide CSV, your file name should be dot CSV, right? So we know that that value we are getting from output format. So we will map here, right? So for mapping this one, we have the concat function, right? So we will utilize that concat will give the name po underscore report underscore output dot, right? And here we have to concat the format. So format we are getting as a response. So what format we are getting? We are getting format here, right? So why we are getting this error? Visual exceptions, paper error, start rest. Let me open this again. Let's see why we are getting. Mhm. Something happened with this one. Let me go back here. Discard. Let me refresh this page again, and let's see why we are getting error, right? There is some error in this integration. That's why I'm going to refresh the page. Uh, this one, right? This is our integration. Let me edit this integration. There was some issue in this integration. That's why we are not able to see, right? So now done. So just add the stage file here. Sorry. So let me add the stage file here. Now give the name as write report file underscore stage. Continue. Here we have to select the operation as write, as we are going to create the file. And here I just open the expression builder so that I can use that concat functions, concat. And what name we want to give? So we want to give that po underscore report underscore output dot, and the extension, that extension we will get from the request wrapper. So expand this one, and here you can see the output format will be our extension slash, right? So here it will be our file name. That file name will be po report output dot. The format we will pass as XML, CSV, PDF, anything, right? So now here this is the directory. The directory here we have to pass where we want to write the file in OIC. That's where we want to write. So this is OIC virtual directory. You can pass anything, OIC temp, anything, right? So let me pass that OIC temp. Just go continue, and here it's asking the format of the file data, right? So we know that right now we don't have any data format, right? It's basically for code, right? And for utilizing that basically for code into file reference, we know that we have opaque schema, and that opaque schema is in XSD format. That's why I selected XSD schema here. Just go continue, and it will ask you to upload the schema file. So we already created a schema file here. So let me navigate to this location, and here we created one opaque schema name as opaque schema file.xsd, right? This is the same opaque schema which I shown you here, that opaque schema file.xsd. This is the same, right? So I provided here you can see we have opaque element, the same opaque element you are able to see here. So this opaque element will take basically for code, and it will convert into actual file reference. That's the use of opaque schema. Continue and finish. So now you can see we added the endpoint here, a stage file endpoint to write the file. So here we will get base64 code. We will pass this base64 code here so that this stage file will convert this base64 code into actual file reference, right? So now click on the mapping, and in the opaque element we have to pass the report byte, right? This opaque element, it will take the base64 code, and from where we are getting the base64, we are getting the base64 code in response of this soap call. And where is the response? The report byte. So if you will go where we are calling the soap web services, we are calling the soap web services in run report underscore soap, right? Soap response. Expand this one. You can see in the run report response, you can see run report return, right? You can see run report response, run report return, and then we have the report byte. So if you will expand the same, you can see the report byte, report content type, report byte, report content type, report file ID, report locates localer. You can see all these things. So I will just map the report byte here and validate and back. So now here you can see in our integration, we are going to take value as request payload. We are invoking the BIP report. BIP report basically for data we are converting using opaque schema and writing a file here. Now this file we want to send over the email. For sending the file over the email, we have to add the notification. So let me add the notifications here. For adding the notification, we already have a notification actions. I will drag this notification action here. Right. So notifications, I will give the name as send report output underscore notification, and here we have to select the two. So for selecting the two, we already have the details. The two we have already the variable, that email to. I will map this email to here. From, we have already one variable email from. I will map the email from here. Subject, right? So I will give the subject as po report output. Now here we have to give the body. So body I will give simple as hi team, please find the below, find the attached report output by running the, by passing the below parameter. And what is the parameter? That parameter which we pass to the BIP report. And here in the email body, if you want to pass the runtime value, the runtime value can be passed using the parameters. So here we have to create parameters. I will give the name parameters as report parameter. This one parameters, another report output format, again these two, and here we have to give the parameters name, so we'll give as p underscore report param, and another parameters I want to give as p underscore report format. So these two are the parameters which we are given here. Regards OIC support team, and here we have to provide this, replace this value runtime, right? Here we have to change this value runtime, so just copy this parameters name here and create parameters here. Just click on create, give the parameters name, and from where we will get this report parameters name, we will get the report parameter names from the request payload. So map these parameters here. Now we have one more parameters name, the parameters name as p underscore report format. Copy this one, click on another parameters, just give the parameters name, and again value we will get from the request wrapper itself, right? Output format. So now these two parameters we created. Now we have to attach the report output, right? And where is the report output is available in the stage file we created here. Stage, right? Right report file stage, right? So this is the attachment. Click here. It will ask you the file reference. And where is the file reference? File reference is in right report file stage. Expand here. Inside that we have ICS, and ICS file we have the file reference. This is the file reference. Expand here, right? Even you can add the file name in the reports too here. What is the file name if you want to add? So we can add the file name here, report output file name, and report output file name if you will pass p underscore file name. Let me copy this one and create one more parameters, and what will be the value for that? So value will be from write report stage, ICS properties, and the file name. You can see the file name. This is the report file name which we generated in the stage file. So now done, our integration is ready. We just have to map the response. So this is the stage file mapper which will help us to provide the response to this integration. So just click here, and here you can see the response wrapper. Expand this response wrapper. In the response wrapper we have the status, right? So let's make that status as success as of now. Even in error handling part we can add the logic for error and all. So just for brief, let's say that success. And after that we have the report file name. So where is the report file name, right? So report file name is available in the right file, right? So this is the right report file. Expand this one, expand. Inside the ICS we have properties, and in the properties we have the file name. You can see, to map the file name here. And what is the size of this report file? So you can see the size. So I will map this size. That's done, right? Validate and go back the integration. So our integration is ready, and it's quite straightforward, right? So it will take the request payload for that integration. That request payload value it will create assign to that variable. And here we added SOAP connections to invoke the BIP report by passing the value in the mapper. And after that, it will return the base64 code. We converted that base64 into the file reference using the write file stage write file operation by passing the opaque schema, and the base64 code we pass using the mapper. After that, in response of this file, we will get the file reference. That file reference we say added into the notifications as a reference, right? File reference, and we provided in the mapping the details. That's done, right? Our integration is in configure status. Go back and run the integration. So our integration is configured so that it can be activated. So our integration is activated now. Let's run this integration. Just click here, go to run, and here you can see as our integration having the request payload. To provide the request payload, we just have to navigate to the body tab, and here we have the parameters and the output. So what parameters we want to pass? Let's take a sample value from here itself. That is, this is the parameters value. Let's pass this parameters. And what is the output format? Let's pass the output format as PDF, right? So now we just have to click on run. So once you will click on run, it will pass this value to the integration, and whatever implementation we have done, it will execute and it will return as the response. You can see response we got a status as success which hard coded values we given. This is the report output file name we given. The file name content the output format which we mapped as a config, and this is the size of report 76726 byte. And you can see our integrations got completed. If you will see, try to debug that one. So whatever value we passed here, this two value passed it as a request payload here, and then after we added the assign to create the variable. So you can see here we create a few of the variable. That variable name as var param name 1, that's the variable parameters name, report output format, report output path, size of chunk minus 1, email, and that the from email and the output format PDF that which we are getting from here, right? Then after we added the SOAP to invoke the BIP report, here you can see in the SOAP connection we passed these details, add a request payload. Here you can see we pass these details, right? This is the details, the PO num US1 and all. If you will see this value, this you will find similar to the value we passed here, right? So I can show you here, right? You can see, if you will be able to see, you will be able to compare the same. It will be it's similar, right? The output format PO name US1 same, right? You can see these three value and the output format and minus 1, because whatever value we will map, the XML will pass only such value. In the response you can see we are getting base64 code, because it's too in the large in size, that's why it's not able to see here. We can even download the file, right? If you will download file, you will be able to see here, right? Let me show you this downloaded file in this notepad. Here you can see this is the same we got response, right? And the same response we pass to the stage file. You can see the stage write file to convert this base64 code into the file reference, and it converted and we got the file reference. Here you can see this is the file reference and the file name, right? The file format and the size of this one. And we added the notifications, to send over the email, and we map the response to the integration. This is the same response, right? If I can show you the email here, let me log into my Gmail. You can see we got an email, OIC mail services. What is the subject? That PO report output. Expand here. You can see, hi team, please find the attached report output by passing the below parameters. The report parameters is US 5046, which we pass as the integration request payload. You can see the 46, and here report output format as PDF, and the report output file name is PO report file name. This is the same, right? Here we got. If you can download the file, it's quite good, right? We just added our logos and all here. You can see this is the report we got our email. The same thing, instead of getting the report output over email, you can add logic in your integration to place the report output format to file server. And if you want to read, you can add another stage file to read the file data and store data into ATP table anywhere. That kind of logic you can add, right? So if you instead of PDF, if I can pass the CSV, right, just click on run. So it will invoke the BIP report in CSV format. It will generate the CSV file, right? Convert the file, and it will send the file over the email, and it will send us the response. So here you can see we got the file response as PO report output at CSV. And if you will go to the email, you can see we receive another email, and another email output is in .csv. You can see here PO report output.csv. If I can download this report output format, here you can see the report is in CSV format. You can see. So that's the magic of invoking BIP report in Oracle integration. So thank you so much everyone for joining. It's really nice to have you in a session. If you have any other queries, now you can unmute yourself and you can ask your queries, if whatever you have, right? So thank you so much again for joining. It's really nice to have you onboarded here. Anyone having any questions? Let's try to unmute. Yes.
Hi, Jafar.
Hey, hello.
I have one query. Basically, we are calling the callback integration now. So
Mhm.
in that callback integration,